gentlemen, the books is in. The books are in. Yep. They're in. They're here.
Log in to KofiPaisaTV.com and get Spears of the Mossy Volume 1 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Any Harret Sean Calfunny, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Paisa, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Any Harret Sean Calfunny, As I Learned, We All Learn by Kofi Paisa. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPaisaTV.com.
Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by a copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
Yo, talk to me, Cleveland. Have you not had your shot yet? I know you're worried. You're thinking it's going to be like another Tuskegee. Here's the situation, people. In Tuskegee, they did not give us the disease, but what they didn't do was give us the cure. But by not taking this vaccine, we're Tuskegeeing ourselves. And if your doctor and your mother haven't turned into zombies by now, then you won't either.
ETM Hotel, Rennie Sean, welcome in peace. My name is Sean. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to Science with Sean. We're going to get it in and talk about the lost art of Dr. Christina Parks. Video circulating around social media, man, and people keep on bringing it to other people's attention. So I feel like it's only right that we actually take care of the necessary situation to deal with it, like we always need to deal with something. Meanwhile, I hope everybody's doing all right. I see some people in the building as of right now. Peace from West Africa. Nunu, what up, Pure? What up, brother Matt? This everything is everything. What up, Lamar? What up, Keenan? What up, Mike Shabazz? What's good, bro? Everybody else that might tune in later or watch the actual replay, please like the show, share the show, tell a friend, tell a friend. Let's get some people in the building, man, because I guarantee you that if you're tuned into this particular live stream, that you will And I repeat, you will see this coming in your inbox. What up, Jeremy? What's good with you? He said, I'm not buying, chill, doing. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, his mama, on his interview with the research team on the other channel, man, he talked about his mother's love for puzzles. She's always doing puzzles, so they had to take a puzzle apart. My bad, and deal with that from that perspective. Again, man, look, like the show, share the show, and we're gonna get it cracking. That's about it. What this is? All right, hold on 1 second for me. Okay, so how many people seen the video of Dr. Christina Paul? Put a 1 in the chat if you've seen it. Put a 2 in the chat if you haven't. See, what's gonna happen is we're gonna get to talking about it, and then some people gonna pop up. You know what I'm saying? And be like, man, I didn't see the link. I didn't see this, that, and the third, right? So I'm really trying to buy time before we get going, because I have this feeling that I'm gonna have to repeat this, and I really don't want to have to repeat it per se. All right, hold on 1 second, y'all. We're gonna get it cracking. Tell Jay Voodoo I need to start crying, okay? I gotta get rid of this dude, man. I'm tired of him blowing up my notifications, and all he doing is crying. And I'm sitting over here with evidence that the man keep on promoting ivermectin, and then he gonna sit here and say that he, oh man, it's crazy. All right, what up, Scripture Roster was good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and okay, only one person seen it, and from West Africa, I know why you seen it. We talked about it. A lot of this is going to be stuff that you probably can catch real fast, especially if you've been tuned in to Science with Sean. But the video was 9 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let her rock out, and then I'm going to come behind her. And then if more people come in, then I'm going to play it again just so people can be clear. And then I might just stop it and pause it and kind of walk through it. But I do want to address it and get some of the information out there because, like I said, I just watched the video. I didn't take notes or do anything like that. I just gathered some sources just based on things that I was hearing from the top of my head that she was saying, and I just wanted to deal with that. And I'm gonna show y'all how easy it is when you're sitting in front of a Congress, or if you're sitting in front of a school board, or if you're sitting in front of a group of people and you just start talking and someone's recording something. I'm gonna show you how easy it is to get caught up in the confusion of what a person can say because you don't have the ability to fact check or to verify information. I heard ivermectin. Yep. Ivermectin is where it's at. That's why people getting their heads cracked. Yep. They keep listening to idiots. And it's sad, but they keep doing it, man. Unfortunately. What up, Tika? What's good? All right, so I see we got some more people in the building. So what I'm gonna do again is I'm gonna play the video and then I'm gonna go through. But I'm gonna show y'all some other stuff too. And I'm gonna show y'all how to be methodical in your approach on when you get these videos, the first thing you need to do. So hopefully this is a learning experience, not only for me, but for everybody, because I'm trying to show people how to actually go through the process of using a methodology to determine an honest conclusion toward the end of the actual video. All right, so hold on. So let me share my screen. This is gonna be fun. Let's have some fun with it. All right. So again, I already put up the fair use, but I'm gonna do it one more time. I'm gonna put up the fair use one more time. I apologize. Let's cook. Oh no, ain't nobody working today. Not me. All right, so as you can see, I stopped around the 7-minute mark. So the video is 8 minutes and 44 seconds. Her name is Dr. Christina Parks. This is her testimony at the Michigan House of Government. She's testifying that there's a different angle of her probably circulating on social media from the Congress's view. She's trying to stop a bill from being passed. Now, if you looked at the title of the video, you're probably wondering, why am I talking about Kennedy? Again, like the show, share the show. But we're going to get into all of that.
Hello, my name is Dr. Christina Parks. I received my PhD in cellular and molecular biology right here in the state of Michigan from University.
I want y'all to listen to her closely to what she has her PhD in. Okay, I'm not going to stop it again. I'm going to play the video through, but I need you to pay close attention to. Look at the lady right here. She got her phone out. She recording. So it's already a setup. She read it already. Now, she has a PhD in biology. She finna tell you, but just listen close.
Hello, my name is Dr. Christina Parks. I received my PhD in cellular and molecular biology right.
Cellular and molecular biology. Cellular and molecular biology. Okay? All right. Now I said I won't go stop it again, but I'm gonna let it go.
Hello, my name is Dr. Christina Parks. I received my PhD in cellular and molecular biology right here in the state of Michigan from University of Michigan Medical School. And so I'm very well versed in the science of both these mRNA gene therapy vaccines, this kind of technology, as well as what a vaccine is designed to do in the body, what it can do, what it can't do, and the fact that this is extremely complex science that has been oversimplified in the media to basically take away our freedom of choice. What I want to address today in this limited time is the fact that vaccine requirements and mandates are based on the faulty assumption that the vaccines in question prevent transmission of the pathogen, right? Does the vaccine for DTaP prevent transmission? No. Does the vaccine for flu prevent transmission? No. Do the vaccines for COVID prevent transmission? No. In fact, they were never designed to do that. All right, so you're asking, what about this 95% effectiveness? If you look at those clinical trials, they do not say that they prevent transmission. They expressly say that they're measuring whether they attenuate symptoms. So they're 95% effective based on their clinical trials at attenuating symptoms for the first variant, which is essentially gone in our population. Right now, the predominant variant is the Delta, and CDC Director Walensky basically said that these vaccines have no ability to prevent infection by and transmission of the Delta variant. So our policy needs not to be built on the hope of what we think something we want it to do, but what the data actually tell us. So do these viruses do the vaccines prevent the virus from infecting and replicating in the nose and nasopharynx? No, they've only been shown to prevent that replication in the lungs. They're different. The mucosa is very different than the lungs. It's very different than the blood. You inject it to the blood, you make antibodies in your blood. The virus isn't infecting your blood. It's infecting your mucosa, and you don't produce any IgA to neutralize it. In fact, recent studies have shown that the vaccinated, especially with the Delta variant, and the unvaccinated have similar amounts of virus in their nose and throat. In Barnstable, Massachusetts, the CDC tracked an outbreak of 469 cases of COVID. 74% occurred in fully vaccinated, and 4 out of 5 of those hospitalized were vaccinated. All right, so maybe they are mandating this because they just didn't know with the COVID. And so my main complaint is with our health agencies and the CDC, who basically know better and are misleading the public. So let's look at DTaP, which the scientists and the CDC have known since 2014 that the acellular pertussis vaccine does not prevent people from getting infected with the pertussis bacteria and passing it to others. In fact, it was never designed to do that. The vaccine was designed to neutralize the pertussis toxin. Pertussis, we know it as whooping cough. It can be fatal for children under 6 months. So neutralizing this toxin saves lives, all right? I'm not going to debate that. But what it doesn't do is neutralize the bacteria. So what happens is fully vaccinated children go to daycare, they pick up that bacteria, and they come home and they give it to their newborn brother or sister. They get deathly ill and they go to the hospital. Hopefully our medical professionals are able to save them. But who do they blame? Now the CDC is blaming anti-vaxxers for the limitations of this vaccine design. I suggest that they be transparent and tell parents that although it is preventing severe disease in their children, it is not preventing transmission because we have created a whole class of asymptomatic pertussis carriers who are increasing the disease. Now, the old DTP vaccine that many of you who are my age or older got did prevent transmission. When we switched to the safer acellular version, they knew that it was never designed to prevent transmission. It was safer, it had less adverse events, but pertussis cases have gone through the roof. There's a resurgence in pertussis because of the design of the vaccine, and the vaccinologists know this. They're trying to address it, and so we cannot mandate that something that does not prevent transmission. All right, what about the flu vaccine? Well, they have shown that basically there's no difference, there's no statistical difference if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, whether you get the flu or not. But it's even worse because although that first year it is somewhat effective, it's about 65% effective at preventing symptoms in you, after that, it actually has negative efficacy. And I want to address this because it's very important. Vaccines are made to a specific variant. And when that variant mutates, the vaccine no longer recognizes it. And so it's like you're seeing a completely new virus. And because that's so, you actually get more severe symptoms when you're vaccinated against one variant and then it mutates and then your body sees the other variant. So there's the potential, and the science shows that in fact with the flu, if you get vaccinated in multiple years, you are more likely to get severe disease, you are more likely to have more viral replication, and you are more likely to be hospitalized, both in adults and in children. We are seeing the same thing in COVID with the Delta variant. And so we are mandating that people get a vaccine that could actually make them more sick when they're exposed to the virus. In fact, this week, a paper came out, and what it showed is that with this Delta variant, when you're vaccinated, your body makes antibodies that are supposed to neutralize the virus, but they were supposed to neutralize the old variant. When they see this new variant, what they're doing is the antibodies are taking the virus and helping it infect the cells. All right, that science was just published this week. We need to be looking at the science, and we need our policy to reflect the science, and we also need it to reflect our rights. And so as a PhD who knows the science, I'm in the category of the most vaccine hesitant group. Yes, PhDs are the most vaccine hesitant, followed by people who have less than a high school degree because they know what they don't know and they don't trust their government. And many people, the other group that is very vaccine hesitant are African Americans. 70% of African Americans have not taken this vaccine. Why? Because they don't trust their government. Do they have reason not to trust their government? Well, between the years of 1930 and 1970, the CDC conducted the Tuskegee experiment, where they took untreated males with syphilis and they refused to treat them. Even after antibiotics became available, they still did not treat them, and they did not tell them that they had syphilis. They told those people that they were there to secure their health, and they did not secure their health. They abused them. You say, well, that was in the past, although I don't think 1970 was that long ago. Well, in 2012, whistleblower William Thompson came forward and said, we published a study that said MMR does not cause autism, but we lied. In fact, we shredded data that showed that when Black boys are vaccinated on time, they have increased rates of autism diagnosis. And we shredded it and we left it out of the paper. As an African American and a PhD, I want to ask each of you, are we going to exclude 70% of African American people from the workforce and from education? Right? My ancestors did not work this hard. I come up from a family that worked very hard, and I'm very aware that my privileges are dependent on the work of my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and I have great respect for these people that put me where I am. And yet you're telling me that my son will not be able to be educated if, based on the history of African Americans in this country, that he doesn't want to be vaccinated? All right, so I will leave you with that question. Who are we going to exclude from the workforce? Are we going to continue with discrimination and segregation in the United States of America? Thank you.
Ooh, bullshit. All right, okay. Before we get started, though, before I really go in, I do want to thank all you new listeners that just came in. Please like the show, share the show, tell a friend, tell a friend. I will be replaying this because some of you just came in and may have missed some of the points, but I do want to go over a couple of things that I heard in the video for the first time. And let's see if we can deal with that. So we dealt with 4 different viruses. We dealt with whooping cough, flu, COVID, and MMR. We dealt with Tuskegee, came up in the conversation. Autism came up in the conversation. We dealt with the Massachusetts study that we've dealt with before on this channel. That came up in the study. Now I'm doing all of this from the head. I don't have anything wrote down. I'm doing all of this from the head. She talked about excluding people from the workplace. That's neither here nor there. She made a claim about a scientific article or the science, as she said, the science was published today that says something about something that was confusing. I don't know what the science is for that. I haven't seen the science on that, but I know she said it. And so we're going to deal with some of the things that she said. Now, before we get going, right, you have to know who your author is. Who's the person that you're speaking to? I try to do that every time we do these videos. I try to introduce you to the person to let you know who the person was. Now, Sean Brooks McCauley, we really didn't have a lot of information on him outside of the little plea deal that he took with the state of Florida school department. So it really wasn't a lot that we could gather about him. He made claims about being an author with 48 publications, 23 books. We don't have any of that to substantiate who the guy is. So what I'm trying to tell y'all today is the first thing you have to do is, after you listen to somebody like this, is you have to go and find out who this person is. So who is she? She's on Facebook. This is her, Christina Parks. In her hands, it says killed by DTP OPV 1985, Danny K. That's what she has on her Facebook page as her profile picture. In the background, she has a picture of dun 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 dun. This guy. Y'all know who this guy is? Vaccine Roulette. Vaccine. Oh, yeah. You've seen him before. That's Robert Kennedy, one of the biggest anti-vaxxers. Okay, as the plot thickens. So there's 2 things that we know, right? She's against vaccine. She's against the DTP vaccine, and she's in a picture with Robert Kennedy. Okay. Now, as we go down her page, she got some religious stuff up here, some YouTube videos, and then she puts this up here several times. I haven't been able to see this on my own page, so posting it again. Then she keeps on going with the religious stuff, and as you can see, she's doing all of that, right? I post signs, informational videos, and resources on my Telegram page. That's what she says. Okay, August 22nd, Montana becomes the first U.S. state to ban vaccine requirements for employees. So she posts this from the Fortune, right? She shares that. Okay. Then she shares this, the role of zinc in the immune health and gut permeability. The authors of the study, published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation, explained that the multi-system inflammatory syndrome, which is MIS-C, increased gastrointestinal mucosal permeability allows blah, blah, blah. She mentions that. She continues to share some other stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's a video right here. Pastor. It's a bunch of religious stuff, right? Okay. She shares her passion for her faith. The video again, she keeps reposting that. Video again, she keeps reposting that. Her video again, she keeps reposting that, but this time she has the RN person on there. But really, when you click on it, it's gonna go directly to her. See, again, she keeps posting it. This is social media. And you know, she shares some things of that nature. So you can kind of gain a perspective of who this person is. She's a very religious person. She's entrenched in her faith. She shares some comedic things on there. So far, you've seen a couple of recipes for stuff. So she liked to eat. Does anyone need a deal? I'd rather chill in the pool than make a pickle. All right. She's supposed to have some type of sense of humor, but that's lame. You know, she liked water. We've seen a couple of things related to water or whatever, but she talking about wildlife and fishing. Here we go. Jab or job wrong. Okay. We're getting the best of her right now. Detroit. All right. She talking Walmart. So we know the position that she takes. She's against vaccinations. Anytime you're seeing an imagery and you have the talking points that she has, bringing up autism, bringing up whooping cough, bringing up all these other things, when the Senate hearing was about COVID-19 vaccines being mandated for government officials in Michigan, she took that. Look, she puts this up. Providence COVID-19 outbreak hit 765. More than 2/3 of Massachusetts cases are vaccinated. She shares this, but what she doesn't do is she doesn't make any necessary posts regarding things. She just drops it and then just keeps going on about her day. Okay, so this is who we're dealing with. This is this lady that you just heard for 8 minutes. All right, so now that we know who we're dealing with, we got a good idea that she's, you know, she's taking a position to be anti-vax based on her own picture, based on her own images, who she's there with, Rob Kennedy. All right, we ain't got to get into the fan. We stay right here. All right, so now we have a general idea when she comes out and she sits in front of her Senate, her testimony. She gives her testimony in front of the people of Michigan. So here's where we are now. I'm gonna slow it down a little bit, and I'm gonna play it one more time for the people in the back. You know, the people who just joined, or the ones who clicked off, or those who don't want to actually deal with the information. They rather stay entrenched in their belief. Them people. Now, if anyone has any questions in regard to anything, then please save them to when we go directly through. And absolutely, it's a Gish Gallop. It's a bunch of information thrown at a group of people, and none of it is scientific. I mean, I'm not gonna say none of it is scientific. There was some truth in something. When she brought up Tuskegee, she was spot on. Right? She was spot on. She nailed it. She said they refused to treat the people. She didn't come out with a conspiracy, but she did have a list of conspiracies in her bill. So let's revisit it one more time. 8 minutes.
Hello, my name is Dr. Christina Parks. I received my PhD in cellular and molecular biology right here in the state of Michigan from University of Michigan Medical School. And so I'm very well versed in the science of both these mRNA, gene therapy, vaccines, this kind of technology, as well as what a vaccine is designed to do in the body, what it can do, what it can't do, and the fact that this is extremely complex science that has been oversimplified in the media to basically take away our freedom of choice. What I want to address today in this limited time is the fact that vaccine requirements and mandates are based on the faulty assumption that the vaccines in question prevent transmission of the pathogen, right? Does the vaccine for DTaP prevent transmission? No. Does the vaccine for flu prevent transmission? No. Does do the vaccines for COVID prevent transmission? No. In fact, they were never designed to do that. All right, so you're asking, what about this 95% effectiveness? If you look at those clinical trials, they do not say that they prevent transmission. They expressly say that they're measuring whether they attenuate symptoms. So they're 95% effective based on their clinical trials at attenuating symptoms for the first variant, which is essentially gone in our population. Right now, the predominant variant is the Delta, and CDC Director Walensky basically said that these vaccines have no ability to prevent infection by and transmission of the Delta variant. So our policy needs not to be built on the hope of what we think something we want it to do, but what the data actually tell us. So do these viruses do the vaccines prevent the virus from infecting and replicating in the nose and nasopharynx? No, they've only been shown to prevent that replication in the lungs. They're different. The mucosa is very different than the lungs. It's very different than the blood. You inject it to the blood, you make antibodies in your blood. The virus isn't infecting your blood. It's infecting your mucosa, and you don't produce any IgA to neutralize it. In fact, recent studies have shown that the vaccinated, especially with the Delta variant, and the unvaccinated have similar amounts of virus in their nose and throat. In Barnstable, Massachusetts, the CDC tracked an outbreak of 469 cases of COVID. 74% occurred in fully vaccinated, and 4 out of 5 of those hospitalized were vaccinated. All right, so maybe they are mandating this because they just didn't know with the COVID. And so my main complaint is with our health agencies and the CDC, who basically know better and are misleading the public. So let's look at DTaP, which the scientists and the CDC have known since 2014 that the acellular pertussis vaccine does not prevent people from getting infected with the pertussis bacteria and passing it to others. In fact, it was never designed to do that. The vaccine was designed to neutralize the pertussis toxin. Pertussis, we know it as whooping cough. It can be fatal for children under 6 months. So neutralizing this toxin saves lives, all right? I'm not going to debate that. But what it doesn't do is neutralize the bacteria. So what happens is fully vaccinated children go to daycare, they pick up that bacteria, and they come home and they give it to their newborn brother or sister. They get deathly ill and they go to the hospital. Hopefully, our medical professionals are able to save them. But who do they blame? Now the CDC is blaming anti-vaxxers for the limitations of this vaccine design. I suggest that they be transparent and tell parents that although it is preventing severe disease in their children, it is not preventing transmission because we have created a whole class of asymptomatic pertussis carriers who are increasing the disease. Now, the old DTP vaccine that many of you who are my age or older got did prevent transmission. When we switched to the safer acellular version, they knew that it was never designed to prevent transmission. It was safer, it had less adverse events, but pertussis cases have gone through the roof. There's a resurgence in pertussis because of the design of the vaccine, and the vaccinologists know this. They're trying to address it, and so we cannot mandate that something that does not prevent transmission. All right, what about the flu vaccine? Well, they have shown that basically there's no difference, there's no statistical difference if you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, whether you get the flu or not. But it's even worse because although that first year it is somewhat effective, it's about 65% effective at preventing symptoms in you, after that, it actually has negative efficacy. And I want to address this because it's very important. Vaccines are made to a specific variant, and when that variant mutates, the vaccine no longer recognizes it. And so it's like you're seeing a completely new virus. And because that's so, you actually get more severe symptoms when you're vaccinated against one variant, and then it mutates, and then your body sees the other variant. So there's the potential, and the science shows that, in fact, with the flu, if you get vaccinated in multiple years, you are more likely to get severe disease, you are more likely to have more viral replication, and you are more likely to be hospitalized, both in adults and in children. We are seeing the same thing in COVID with the Delta variant. And so we are mandating that people get a vaccine that could actually make them more sick when they're exposed to the virus. In fact, this week, a paper came out, and what it showed is that with this Delta variant, when you're vaccinated, your body makes antibodies that are supposed to neutralize the virus, but they were supposed to neutralize the old variant. When they see this new variant, what they're doing is the antibodies are taking the virus and helping it infect the cells. All right, that science was just published this week. We need to be looking at the science, and we need our policy to reflect the science, and we also need it to reflect our rights. Okay. And so, as a PhD who knows the science, I'm in the category of the most vaccine hesitant group. Yes, PhDs are the most vaccine hesitant, followed by people who have less than a high school degree because they know what they don't know and they don't trust their government. And many people, the other group that is very vaccine hesitant are African Americans. 70% of African Americans have not taken this vaccine. Why? Because they don't trust their government. Do they have reason not to trust their government? Well, between the years of 1930 and 1970, the CDC conducted the Tuskegee experiment, where they took untreated males with syphilis and they refused to treat them. Even after antibiotics became available, they still did not treat them, and they did not tell them that they had syphilis. They told those people that they were there to secure their health, and they did not secure their health. They abused them. You say, well, that was in the past, although I don't think 1970 was that long ago. Well, in 2012, whistleblower William Thompson came forward and said, we published a study that said MMR does not cause autism, but we lied. In fact, we shredded data that showed that when Black boys are vaccinated on time, they have increased rates of autism diagnosis. And we shredded it and we left it out of the paper. As an African American and a PhD, I want to ask each of you, are we going to exclude 70% of African American people from the workforce and from education? Right? My ancestors did not work this hard. I come up from a family that worked very hard, and I'm very aware that my privileges are dependent on the work of my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and I have great respect for these people that put me where I am. And yet you're telling me that my son will not be able to be educated if, based on the history of African Americans in this country, that he doesn't want to be vaccinated? All right, so I will leave you with that question. Who are we going to exclude from the workforce?
All right, so there you have it. We'll probably have to revisit this again, but let's just see what her local news says about her. Now, when I do this, I am totally not. I don't even care what this. I'm only showing y'all what the media is reporting at the time that she's speaking. I don't even care what they're saying. As you can see, I have the sources in the description of the video for everything that I am going to talk about that she mentioned in the video. The pertussis or the DTP vaccine, I'm not getting into that. 3.7 million children were born in 2019. In 2019, there was only 19,000 cases of whooping cough. They vaccinate the children. So I don't know what happened to the 19 children that developed whooping cough. I don't have anything to deal with that data. I'm staying away from that data because 19,000 people probably said, I don't want to get my kid vaccinated for that. And then they ended up developing whooping cough. However, the other 3.7 million children, there was no effect. They were vaccinated for whooping cough. All right, so Greg Hermes and Dan Kelly are the anchor reporter and web producer of this particular article that was published on August 20th, 2021. Now, the reason that I'm not putting this into my information or that much validity into it is because it's the media. I don't want to stay there. But the heading says, hearing over Michigan bill to ban vaccine, mask mandates, filled with misinformation, conspiracy theories, outright lies. So bill would prevent employees from mandating vaccine masks, asking about COVID vaccination status. And here you have the talking points of the initial video. I'm not going to get into that. All right. So it goes on to say among the speakers were several known anti-vaccine doctors, including Dr. Christina Parks, PhD, who pushes debunked theories about vaccines causing autism and the benefits of hydroxychloroquine. Dr. Neuschwader, who was disciplined in 2015 by the State Medical Board for negligence. Dr. Mohinid Talia, who accused Dr. Fauci of funding and profiting from the spread of the outbreaks dating back to the early 2000s. While the testimony was questioned by some lawmakers, many stayed silent. Now, the House Bill 4471 is opposed by 7 major businesses and health groups. Only one sent a representative to speak was the Detroit Chamber of Commerce, which called the bill government overreach. Now, the statement was made with jeers from anti-vax crowd. Of course, you know they're going to cheer for that. Now, so this is partial, and I say partial because there's more information written by these two authors regarding the whole situation. This guy, Greg Hermes, on Twitter was tweeting every single claim or thing that Dr. Christina Parks had mentioned. And that's why I didn't put much validity into the news article. I just wanted to deal with an overall summary of what we were dealing with, who were the panelists, and who was speaking in front of the crowd. So I'm going to X that out. All right, so study ties COVID vaccines to lower transmission. In the video, she talked about transmission. So what I want to do is go to a specific study, drop some numbers, move on to the next source. Now, vaccines have a 71% effectiveness against transmission. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pay attention because in the video, she says that the vaccinations might protect against severe disease, but it doesn't stop transmission. Those was her words. All right, so we got to deal with her words. I see we're losing audience members because now we're dealing with the evidence over the claims. See, it was okay if I just played the video over and over. We'll have all the anti-vax crowd. Now we lost like 4 or 5 people because, you know, they part of the anti-vax movement. Cool. So let's learn. Researchers looked at 113,582 adult index cases and 253,000, let's say 250,000 close contacts of all ages. I'm going to say that again. They looked at 113,000 adult index cases, 250,000 close contact cases, 5,394 fell under both categories. Now, a close contact was also classified as an index case when they tested positive. Less than 1%, 0.5% of the index cases were fully vaccinated people. I want you to hear that word again. Out of all these people, 0.5% in the index case of the 113 were fully vaccinated, while 1.8% were partially vaccinated. So you do the math on that. For close contacts, 2.1% of the fully vaccinated and 1.7% were partially vaccinated. Secondary attack rate was 31% of the household members exposed to unvaccinated index patients, but 11% if the index patient was fully vaccinated, making the adjustment vaccine effectiveness against transmission 71%. All right. Now, by vaccine type, VET was estimated by 58% in AstraZeneca, 70% in Pfizer, 88% in Moderna, 77% in Johnson & Johnson. Partial vaccination only resulted in a VET between 15% and 51%. Now, for close contacts who were not household members, the researchers say VET seems to be 22%, which they suggest could be due to misclassification of index. Now, although we try to minimize misclassification of indexes and contacts by excluding the index cases infected at home and contacts with symptom onset before or at the same time as an index, it is possible that in some instances, the transmission route was reversed or transmission occurred through another source. The researchers wrote, saying this caused an underestimation of VET. On the other hand, they continued, because our analysis on household contacts was restricted to notified index cases, not infected homes, probably most of the index cases sought testing because they had symptoms. Symptomatic cases may have been misclassified as index cases in a household, where in reality, a symptomatic household member was the source of transmission to be supposed index case, and third household member if vaccines are more likely to be asymptomatic. This source of misclassification may result in an overestimation of that. Now, overall, the researchers say adjusted vaccine effectiveness for fully vaccinated household contexts after confirmed exposure was 75% and 79% for other close case contexts. You have, 72, 78, 74, 83, 95, respectively. So this article is going through a study dealing with a mass amount of people regarding exposure to variants, okay? And it deals with more specifically in this argument for the case of the alpha variant at the time of the actual study, because they were trying to determine transmission. To add to the case, comparing the COVID vaccines and how they differ, she had talked about some things. She brought up the Delta variant, and she talked about how, people were vaccinated against one variant, and then another variant pops up, meaning you got to get vaccinated against that one because you was only vaccinated against the original variant, but now you have all these new variants and the old variant no longer exists. She did the flim flam boom bam on us, right? So when she did the flim flam on us, then it throws us. What we're doing now is we're going down a rabbit hole and we're chasing a lot of things. So instead of me bringing back up the things, I'm just want to walk us through some of her claims. Now, the 3 vaccines in the U.S. we all know is Pfizer. And let's talk about some of this stuff that she said wasn't true. So Pfizer is a 2-dose vaccine, right? And require you, in order to gain full immunity is 14 days after the second vaccine. The vaccine is recommended for 12 and older currently, right? It's not, they still studying, kids from 5 to 11. Now they talk about the common side effects, which is, all common side effects are going to be the same for all of the vaccines. They even tell you about the 15-minute waiting period. And then the FDA gives warning labels because they want to talk about heart inflammation in young adults, which is rare, and so rare that 12.6 per million second dose administered has been caused of that. Now, I don't really want to get into all of the data. Basically, there's like 226 cases out of what was the data? 226 cases out of 180 million vaccinated people, and that's super rare. But because the cases existed, you have to stay on topic with that, and you have to present that information. So we all know how the vaccine works, so I'm not going to get into all of that. She talked about, like I said, transmission again, and then she talked about efficacy, and then she's saying how vaccinated people were pretty much the problem, as far as how those things go. So she mentioned virus mutation. She's saying that you're vaccinated against one vaccine. That vaccine will, the different variant that enters the body will absorb that particular variant of vaccine or whatever, mutate and go on and do some whole other things. So let's see how well it works, because she also mentioned that the vaccines, right, wasn't tested against the other variants, only the original variant. So how well it works? A number of studies have focused on vaccines and mutations. In early May, the Pfizer vaccine was found to be more than 95% effective against severe disease or death from Alpha variant, first detected in the UK, and the Beta variant identified in South Africa in 2 studies based in real-world vaccinations. So when we get to the point of having the original variant, Alpha and Beta, and then later we get the South American variant, we begin to test. So let me continue. As far as the Delta variant seen in India, 2 studies reported Public Health England that have not yet been peer reviewed showed that full vaccinations after 2 doses, 88% effective against symptomatic disease, 96% effectiveness against hospitalizations. But Israel later reported that the vaccine effectiveness was 90% effective against severe disease and tremendously low against infection, right? That's different now. And 39% against infection in the population. Now, that's a difference between disease and hospitalization. They threw out a 39% number against infection, meaning that 39% of the people who were vaccinated in that group or that class could potentially experience breakthrough infections, right? That's basically what that data is saying, but I'm just trying to make it small. Now, she said these real world examples wasn't going on in these vaccines. So it's the same thing with Moderna. Greater than 90% effective against COVID-19 and more than 95% against severe cases with approximately 6 months median follow-up after the second dose, according to the company. Early phase 3 studies showed that Moderna to be 94% effective from preventing symptomatic infection in people with no evidence from the previous infection. It also talks about a study that they did in late March. This is a lot more information that you're going to get here. In short, we know that Moderna was tested against the same variants. As you heard me mention earlier, Moderna 88% against the Delta variant. How well it works? In June, Moderna reported the study showed its vaccine is effective against Beta, Delta, Eta, and Kappa variants. Ooh, doing some other ones, huh? Although it did show it would be 2 times weaker against Delta than against the original virus. Now, while more research is needed on Monday's efficacy against Delta, some experts believe it may work similarly to Pfizer since both are mRNA vaccines. Now, she says that the vaccines wasn't, remember, I'm driving this point home. The vaccines were not tested against other variants. This is proof positive that a microbiologist, okay, who deals with cells doesn't know anything about immunology or virology because that's out of her lane. She can tell you everything about the cell, which she didn't do in her presentation to the Congress. She left that out. She's an expert, right? In the cell, and then being able to track. At what epidemiologists do is they track, and I don't even know if she, in under her field of study, if she tracks the spread of the virus, because that was never mentioned in there. So we were thing, how it works, the same way. 72% overall efficacy and 86% against severe disease, according to the FDA. It deals with what it deals with. In July, the vaccine is also effective against the Delta variant. Delta's a big deal around here. So it's been tested against the South African variant as well. There's some peer-reviewed information that comes out against that. Moral of the story, the vaccines are always being tested against different variants. Every time a new variant comes, they test the vaccines. Now, the one who jumped out the window first was Pfizer, because its efficacy wasn't 88% like Moderna's was against the Delta variant. It was 64%, which was still highly recommended because that's way more than flu vaccines and any other vaccines that were coming out, because they were looking to be around more than 50%. Okay. I stayed on that article too long. She talked about the IgA dominates the early neutralizing antibodies response to SARS-CoV-2. She really didn't get into the IgA. She brought this up in the conversation. But let's think about this, ladies and gentlemen. If I'm sitting on Congress and I'm about policies and things of that nature, I'm inexperienced in epidemiology, I'm inexperienced in immunology, and I'm inexperienced in virology. Why am I listening to, right? First of all, I'm listening to something that I'm unfamiliar with. And the person telling me this isn't explaining what IgA is, what IgG is, or what she's actually talking about. So for the layman in the audience, she's talking about IgA. Okay. She's talking about testing. So let's deal with the testing measure. In this article right here, she's talking about humoral immune responses play a critical role in protecting individuals against SARS-CoV-2 infection, particularly through activity of neutralizing antibodies. There you go. Measured humoral immune responses in the serum, saliva, and the bronchial or lavage fluid of SARS-CoV-2 infection patients who experience a range of COVID-19 disease severity. IgA antibodies dominated the early SARS-CoV-2 specific antibody response compared with IgG and IgM concentrations in the fluids, and was associated with the expansion of IgA plasmablasts with mucosal homing characteristics. Now, the IgA serum concentrations peaked at 3 weeks after symptoms onset, but persistent for several weeks in saliva, and serum IgA was more potent. So you're testing and you're looking for how well an immune response, right? In summary, some type of immune response or protection against SARS-CoV-2. This is what the testing is recommending. How are those? How's that memory reflecting, or what are you showing in this testing? There's more. You can break all of this stuff down, but my point is if I don't know what the hell you're talking about, and then you saying all of this, I think you know what you're talking about until I go research it, and then I realize that you're really playing with my mind right now. She didn't have any proof. You can't ask her for proof. She's basically doing it now. So I'm not going to get into this whole particular article. The results was too long to even try to summarize. But like I said, it's in the chat if you want to get into understanding what really is going on with the IgA dominance for early neutralizing antibody response to SARS-CoV-2. I do want to get into this because this was mentioned again. I'm back to the role of transmission. I can't live this down. So our neighborhood our favorite local epidemiologist, Caitlin Jetlina, she comes back for transmission again on August 25th. August 6th, she dropped 4 points. People who are unfamiliar with that, you can actually get this in the description. Her 4 points was vaccines continue to protect amazingly against hospitalization and death. The efficacy against mild and moderate disease is reduced. This could be from Delta or waning immunity or both. This is why we eventually need a third dose. Viral load among vaccinated is the same as unvaccinated. In the first 6 days, the vaccine kicks in and there's a far faster decline in the load than among the unvaccinated. Now, those last 2 points are, if you're an anti-vaxxer, the last 2 points is what you should be arguing for, but the science is going to kill you overall because you're not going to understand what she's saying when she's talking about the viral load. You're not going to understand what she's talking about declining or waning within the first 6 days of the vaccine, because overall natural infection wans faster. As soon as you get to that 4th month, it continues to wane faster over a period of time. But in the first 6 days, the waning is different. The decline is different. The vaccination decline in the first 6 days and then holds steady, versus natural infection, it keeps happening for every day for 4 months, and then it doesn't slow down. That memory T cell doesn't. That memory doesn't. I don't know. I said, but that memory begins to stop around the 4-month part, and then from 4 to 7 months is a less slows down less. This is why reinfection rates. This is why I said you got to be careful. This is why reinfection rates in natural infected people are 2 times more likely in unvaccinated people. Let's continue. Now, she says there remain to be one big unanswered question though. If the Delta viral load is the same among vaccinated compared to unvaccinated, are vaccinated contagious? In other words, are vaccinated now part of the transmission chain because they weren't before Delta? Y'all hear that? And before Delta, none of us would be considered, quote unquote, a part of a transmission chain before Delta. Now, viral load, this is why I said you got to know the argument. Remember, point number 3, viral load. Here we go. Viral load doesn't necessarily mean contagious. See, this is why I said what I said. You got to be careful with number 3 and number 4 if you're an anti-vaxxer, because this is what y'all arguing about on social media. A few weeks ago, when the information came out about Delta and it said the viral load was the same, everybody thought viral load meant transmission. Viral load doesn't necessarily mean contagiousness. Viral load is simply the amount of virus we can find in our system. Viral load is simply the amount of virus we can find in our system. It can be detected using those PCR testing, nasal swabs, or in blood and bloody fluids. If a PCR test has value called infection cycle threshold, then you're considered positive, greater than 30. All right. Now, when the virus is barely present in your nose, the machine needs to run more cycles because it can detect virus. In this case, the CT value is high. However, importantly, positive results does not tell the difference between viable and non-viable virus or contagious or non-contagious virus. In other words, a positive test does not necessarily indicate that a person is infectious. So, are breakthrough cases as contagious as unvaccinated cases? Great question. We needed a special study to answer this called viral viability through replication in cell culture. This lady did not provide us that in her video or in her arguments, even though she had a window of time that she actually spoke. And we don't know if she was restricted to under 10 minutes or whatnot, but this never came out. So I'm doing this part of the article for everybody that's tuned in. So we finally got the results from the study. All right, here go the study. 161 breakthrough cases among healthcare workers at HCWs in Netherlands. Remember, that was published. The average of HCWs was 25.5 years, and all infections were mild and did not require hospital admission. The PCR positives were tested in the viral load and tested for the presence of infectious virus or in the viral load. This is what they found. The viral load was the same in the vaccinated compared to unvaccinated. Okay, this is not new. It just confirms number 3. All right. Now, 7 out of 10 vaccinated, 68.6% vaccinated HCWs were positive for infectious virus compared to 8.5 out of 10, 84% of unvaccinated. So the vaccinated was less than the unvaccinated was less than the vaccinated. I mean, was more than vaccinated. Now, HCWs were positive in infectious virus. So this just lets us know that 68% in the vaccinated group showed infectious virus. 84% in the unvaccinated showed infectious virus. This tells us that if you're vaccinated and you come in contact with the virus, you're likely to be less contagious than the unvaccinated people. I'm gonna say that, but not all the time, she says. I'm gonna repeat that again. This just tells us that you vaccinated people are less contagious if you come in contact with the virus than unvaccinated people. Okay, but not all the time. Now, the bottom line is simple. Vaccines continue to help an individual level. They keep you out of the hospital. They also continue to help on a population level. You play less of a role in the transmission chain than unvaccinated people. That's the point that I'm trying to drive home here, is that the transmission claim is crazy. We're less likely to transmit the virus. I said all of that just to come back to that point. All right, she brought up the CDC vaccinated super spreader, but she didn't say it the way the CDC lady claimed it. So I'm not really going to hint on this because she says something, but she messes it up. This fact checker just clears that up. So I'm not really going to hit on that. That just could have been a misspoke. She could have misspoke right there and didn't frame what she wanted to say correctly because she was bullet pointers and she couldn't remember everything she wanted to say. All right. So again, new data on COVID-19 transmission by vaccinated people. I have a lot of information here, but I just read you a study that I really don't have to go back into this again. But of course, me being me, I have to give you more than one source. So let's move on to another one of her arguments. And we'll really go back on one of her other arguments because she talked about the vaccines not being tested against the other variants. So I added the Qatar study from July regarding the B117 and the B1351 variants. And I'll let y'all have this right here in the notes and talk about the effectiveness of the vaccines with the mRNA 1273, which is Moderna, against those variants. And the vaccines did an excellent job. I ain't got to really cover too much of that right there. All right. If you don't believe me, between December 28, 2020 and May 10th, 2021, 256,037 individuals in Qatar received at least one dose of the Moderna. 181,000 completed the 2-dose regimen of the vaccine record. The medium dates for first and second dose was between 5 and 29 days, respectively. The medium time elapsed in first and second dose was 28 days, with 94.6% of individuals receiving the second dose 30 days after. The flow chart showed what it is. There was a medium and everything like that. Moral of the story, vaccine effectiveness against the B117 were pretty high. You could see here the numbers are super high. The effectiveness was 94% in the 4th week immediately before the second dose, and it reached 99% of the second week effectiveness and was 88% in 14 or more days from the first dose, but before receiving the second dose was 100%. So it was the vaccine was very effective against the B117. Now the B135, it was also effective, but the B1351, you're dealing with Delta, so its effectiveness was 73%. Well, hold on, let me go back. It went from 47.9% to 73% in the 4th week, and then it climbs. 4th week it goes to 96%, and then in the second, from the second dose, and the effectiveness was 61.3% after 14 days from the first dose. Receiving the second dose increases it to 96.4%. So all in all, that's why they're promoting that you have to have both vaccines. Now, the severity and the fatality, right? Because this is important. Effectiveness against severe, critical, or fatal disease due to SARS-CoV-2 infection, predominantly in the 2 variants mentioned, was negligible for 2 weeks after the first dose, but increased rapidly in the 3rd week to reach 70.3% effectiveness, while 92% in the 4th week immediately before the second dose, and reached 100% in the second week after the second dose. Effectiveness was 81.6%, 14 or more days after first dose, but before receiving the second dose, and was 95%, 14 or more days after the second dose. So against the effectiveness against COVID-19 severity and fatality, it was very high, 95.7%. This lady was telling us that these vaccines was ineffective. She told us that the transmission rates was high. She's making an argument to not mandate the vaccines, but the data is saying that she's incorrect. She's incorrect on transmission. She's incorrect on testing against different variants. She's confusing adaptation and mutation with in these vaccinated breakthroughs. She's doing all of that to gish gallop everyone. Again, the effect of vaccinations on household transmission. I don't really want to get into this, but I did add another study. I can't give you one study and then I bag it with other studies. So you'll see this household transmission between January and February of almost 1 million people. contacts of unvaccinated patients. And then you had, you know, the symptoms and things of that nature that comes out of it. This is a good read for somebody who cares to read it. I just don't want to get into all of that because household transmission is effective. Now, this is another one, but this is effectiveness against the Delta variant, right? And then we go in and we see the methods and we deal with how it was against Alpha and we deal with how it is against Delta. And, you know, depending on your vaccine, right? We know the effectiveness in this instance, if you see that, these initials right here, my mouse could be, all right, there you go. When you see this, you should know that that's Pfizer BioNTech vaccine. So this talks about the effectiveness of that vaccine against the Delta variant, and it goes through and give you those numbers. And that, as you can see, among persons with Alpha variant, 67% among those with the Delta. Well, yeah, among the Delta variant. So it goes 74%, 74.5 among persons with the Alpha variant, 76 among those with the Delta variant. Both very effective. Says only modest differences in vaccine effectiveness were noted in the Delta variant compared with the Alpha after receiving 2 doses. Absolute difference in vaccine effectiveness were more marked after the receipt of the first dose, receiving the first dose. This finding will support efforts to maximize vaccine uptake with 2 doses among vulnerable populations. And then they go in and give you some more. The effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccines and the Delta variant. And let's take a look. Oh man, I ain't signed in. I forgot to sign in and I don't feel like going to my phone and get the password. My bad. I'll sign in next time and show y'all this video. Hold on, let me see if I can do it now. Hold on. Nah, I gotta unshare. I can't let y'all see what I'm typing. But anyway, let's move on. So some key points about the vaccines. All COVID-19 vaccines authorized in the United States are effective against COVID-19, including serious outcomes of severe disease, hospitalization, and death. Available evidence suggests the current authorized vaccines for Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna are highly effective against hospitalization and death for a variety of strands, including Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, suggests lower effectiveness against confirmed infections and symptomatic disease caused by Beta, Gamma, Delta variants compared with the ancestral strand of Alpha variant. Ongoing monitoring of vaccine effectiveness against variants is needed. A growing body of evidence indicates that people fully vaccinated with mRNA vaccines are less likely than unvaccinated persons to acquire SARS-CoV-2 or transmit it to others. However, the risk of breakthrough infections in fully vaccinated people cannot be completely eliminated long as there is continued community transmission of the virus. Studies are underway to learn more about the effectiveness of Johnson & Johnson. At this time, there are limited data on vaccine effectiveness in people who are immunocompromised. So we put an emphasis on immunocompromised. We know giving them a 3rd shot may give us some validity. So until they get that data, you know what I'm saying, I can't really deal with the other point, but I do know immunocompromised is an issue. I just went over variants and vaccines, so I really don't want to beat the dead horse again. She brought up this about researchers identify a group hesitant about COVID-19 vaccines. What she was referring to was a study that went on between January and May 2021, dealing with PhDs or a survey. Now, the researchers published their results in MedRevix, a preprint website, and announced their results today ahead of a peer-reviewed publication. That date was July 26th. So when you thought that she came in there on August 25th or whatever, or 24th or whatever date it was, to sit down and say what she said, PhDs were less likely or to get the vaccine or whatever, or be more hesitant. Let's deal with that as well. And I'm gonna go back and play it again because I want to make sure that we cover all of her claims that relating to COVID-19. I don't want to get into the whooping cough, the autism conversation again, or any of that stuff. So The researchers, special faculty members of Dietrich College of Humanities and Social Sciences and senior author of the paper, Wendy King, associated with epidemiologists and Pitt grad, reviewed approximately 1 million Americans per month to assess trends in vaccine acceptance. So here's what happened in this Delta group at CMU. I'm not saying there's 1 million people that got PhDs, so don't think that. Now, the survey asked people whether they would take a vaccine if it was offered to them. People who said probably not or definitely not were considered to be vaccine hesitant. Magia and King analyzed the data by race, education, U.S. region, and Trump support in 2020 elections and assesses the time trends and how each group outlooks change regarding vaccinations. Now, the largest decrease in hesitancy between January and May by education group was in the high school education or less. See, she don't say all of that in the study. All right, that was the largest decrease. Hesitancy held constant in the most educated group, those with PhDs. By May, PhDs were the most hesitant group. While vaccine hesitancy decreased across virtually all racial groups, Black people and Pacific Islanders had the largest decreases, joining Hispanics and Asians at having lower vaccine hesitancy than whites. Those from counties with high Trump support during the election year had higher hesitancy, and the difference in hesitancy between areas in the high and low Trump support grew over the period. These findings really highlights the political perspective of public health recommendations. What's concerning is there's a subset of population that's got strong levels of hesitancy, as in refusal to take the vaccine, not potential concern about it, and the size of the group isn't changing it, she says. Now, among the most however you say this. Now, hold on, let me make sure I get this wrong. Recalcitrant. Let me look that up. Commonly cited. Yeah, recalcitrant. Having obstinately uncooperative attitudes. All right, okay, just say that. Say they got bad attitude. Commonly cited reasons included not trusting the vaccine, not trusting the government. Notice they always put the vaccine with the government. While less hesitant groups were more inclined to explain, they were waiting to see if the vaccine is safe. The researchers believe the different approaches are necessary to address concerns. I don't want to bore y'all to death with this, but she's actually citing this study in her argument to say that PhDs were more hesitant. As you can see from the article, the information, which is not giving us all the data, but it's published here, is referring to an increase in one group of people and then another one. To be more specific, I mean, I don't see how, full text, my bad. Out of 5 million people completed the survey online. And, you know, they can kind of go through and deal with who's who and who's where if you want to deal with it. So as y'all seen what I just did, I went right here, clicked on, right click, opened it in a new tab. Then I went to the article. It will show up in abstract. Click on full text, and then I can go through and I can read the data for myself. Okay, and then it's going to get into all of that. So if you want to be more specific, you have the time to actually do that. Sean is just not going to do that for you. Real quick, based on the science, vaccines do not cause autism. Vaccines cause autism was declared. False. Many scientists have studied this question, but no credible studies show that autism is caused by vaccines. And then it goes through claims that vaccines cause autism are not true. And then it gives you the argument, the article published in the Lancet. And it goes on and talks about the retracted paper of 2010. And people are still holding on to the lie. So for her to come out and talk about autism, she was really wrong about that. And you've heard argue about that numerous times. So I'm going to go back to the video, because this is where it get fun at. We dealt with a lot of her claims. but not all of them. We dealt with the majority.
Hello, my name is Dr. Christina Parks. I received my PhD in cellular and molecular biology right here in the state of Michigan from University of Michigan Medical School. And so I'm very well versed in the science of both these mRNA, gene therapy, vaccines, this kind of technology.
All right. See, told you. We didn't deal with everything because she puts her credentials out there, right, to try to argue from authority. But she isn't the authority on the subject. She makes herself the authority by stating what she stated. So immediately in this video, when she tries to make herself the authority on the subject, she was very unprepared because she didn't have the data. She gave no statistical data. She gave no source where the data could be found. She hinted at it was published this week. The science was published this week. And I'm an expert in reading the science. She did none of that. Then she said that the vaccines were gene therapy. mRNA vaccines be gene therapy. So I didn't deal with that. Let's just do this live. I'm not going to do that. I was going to come to here because I already knew about that, but I'm trying to go somewhere else. I don't want to go to a fact checker. I want to go 2 places. I need this, and this. All right. I'm going to put these in the description. Okay. Why mRNA vaccines aren't gene therapy? This is genomics now, genomics education program. This is why all right, if you didn't understand what I did, the first thing that I did was I started looking for trusted websites, right? I started looking for, I skipped the fact check. I just could have immediately deaded it with the fact check, but I skipped the fact check to deal specifically with a scientific article written by a credentialed Journal of Nature, and then the genomics education program. All right. So RNA, closer look. RNA is closely related to DNA, performs differently. But I don't want to read all of this to y'all. I just want to simply say this. She's trying to make the mRNA vaccines alter DNA. When she gets into gene therapy, that is the argument. You don't believe me? Let's take a closer look. As people in the UK continue to receive COVID vaccines, the subject on how and why they work. See, I'm going outside the US because I don't want to hit a CDC. I don't want to hit a government. So I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to UK. Now, why they work is widely discussed online. Some people are promoting the idea that RNA-based vaccines, including UK-approved Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna, are a form of gene therapy, but that is inaccurate. Okay, let's break it down. RNA, a closer look. RNA is closely related to DNA and performs different but equally important functions. While our genetic information is stored as DNA in the cell nucleus, RNA acts as an intermediary, allowing the genes to be expressed. When a gene is expressed, it is copied to the RNA. This is known as messenger RNA, the type used in the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine. The mRNA travels out of the cell nucleus to be used as a template to make a protein. Once the protein is made, the mRNA gets broken down and then it leaves the body. So how do mRNA work? So we know that they work. We know that we get the vaccine in the fatty part of our arms, the mRNA. But see, in the UK, they use a different vaccine. They got AstraZeneca, which goes to the DNA. But mRNA vaccines is what our focus is. So I'm going to sum this up. All this right here, and then I'm going to come back to this bottom part. The vaccine goes to the cell. It stays within the cell, not the cell. This is why I said this lady, Dr. Christina Parks, did not use her expertise to explain this in its entirety. She opted out of explaining it to do the pseudo-wudo dance. Instead of simply saying that mRNA vaccines travel to the cell, the way they travel to the cell is it has to be a capsule with lipid nanoparticles. Inside the lipid nanoparticles, shout out to my brother, the Circle 7 dude that argued with us for like 3 or 4 days about the ingredients. You know what I'm saying? And all in all, we know that, you know, sugars, salts, messenger, cholesterol are the ingredients broken down. All right. But his thing was, where did something come from? All right. So we know that they got cholesterol there, and we minimized it. It ain't got nothing to do with other stuff. We're gonna stay with cholesterol. All right. So they pack all of that in there to help the messenger get to the cell where it's supposed to go. It gets to the cell copies it, the RNA copies it, and then sends it to the ribosomes. The ribosomes then each one teach one, demonstrating the ability to replicate copies of itself over a period between 10 or 14 days, right? That's helping create an immune response. But what happens to the actual vaccine that you just get? Well, in less than 3 days, it vanishes outside the body. It makes enough of what it needs to do within that time period to teach. And then it breaks down because it can't stay in the body long because it's so hot in your body. First, that's why the temperature is important, and they got to keep them cool so it can get to where it need to get to, and then it's gone, and then it's out of the body. And then after that, the each one teach one takes place. That means I'm going to share information with you. You're going to share information with someone else. Someone else is going to share information with another person. That other person goes share information with the other person. All right. And every message is the same. It's a copy of the original message. We're specifically going to create a defense mechanism against a foreign pathogen that we never saw before when it comes in contact with our body. Once it comes in contact with our body, we now know, because we taught everybody else what to do, how to defend ourselves against the foreign pathogen. All right. Now we have a defense mechanism against it. Now we're good to go. So let's go to gene therapy versus mRNA therapy. Gene therapies involve making deliberate changes to a patient's DNA. Game over. I ain't got to say no more. Gene therapies involve making deliberate changes to a person's DNA in order to cure or alleviate a genetic condition. Let's be more specific. This can be by adding a functional copy of a gene, disabling a gene that makes faulty product, or changing gene activation. mRNA vaccines don't do that. Why? Because mRNA vaccines does not enter the cell of the nucleus or interact with the DNA at all. We know that it stays on the outer layers of the cell. We've been saying that since the technology rolled out. However, gene therapies can have long-lasting effects because they permanently change the cell's DNA. This is the confusion. And these changes being inherited by a daughter cell that resulted in the cell divides. In contrast, mRNAs are always transitory and are not inherited by daughter cells, making them ideal for use in vaccines. Although mRNA therapies have been subject of clinical trials for many years, their role in the fight against COVID-19 has only accelerated interest in their usefulness to combat other conditions. Okay, so this gives you a clear-cut breakdown. I ain't even got to use the other stuff. I ain't got to go to them. I don't have to go to them. I don't. But as promised, I'm going to put them in there. That article was a clear distinction, and my explanation of what a vaccine does is there. Now, I got the Forbes article in here because it's more layman. It's not scientific and it's not data-driven to confuse people, okay? So you put the Forbes article in here because of that. I could have put the fact check in here, but you put the Forbes in there because of that. So what does Nature say? Gene therapy avenues and COVID-19 vaccines. I really don't have to get into all of that. We just read exactly, but it's there. Look, the illustration of the mechanism of action of mRNA vaccines and immune response. The outer layer of the cell. The mRNA capsuled with the lipid nanoparticles goes into the needle, which goes into the upper arm, gets a cell, stays on the outer layer of the cell, never gets into the nucleus. Then it makes a copy, sends the message to your gang. Gang, your gang is your immune system. Gang, this how we gonna fight COVID. Got you. We're gonna make copies of this right here. We're gonna make our own spike, right? We're gonna make our own spike. And it's not even the spike of the real virus. This is a safer spike. This is not gonna be harmful to our body, but we're gonna make enough of it so that we can defend ourselves, and then we good to go, because now we have an immune response. Boom. Let's fight. Let's fight. Now the body is prepared to go do the war. And these people are saying gene therapy. So in her 16-second spat, she went directly to gene therapy. This is the danger. And I said this on the last video, and shout out to Ramon, because he showed this to, she's not a vaccineologist. She's not a virologist. She's not a vaccineologist. She's not a immunologist. But shout out to Ramon, because Ramon showed me some information where he shared it with some brothers, and the brothers was like, okay, they like the breakdown of what took place, because he says he's right. Well, he said that I was right, that when you're arguing with somebody and you hear them speak for 3 minutes, they say so much in the 3-minute span that you can't deal with all the information. She got 8 minutes. She literally almost tripled the information span.
Hello, my name is Dr. Christina Parks. I received my PhD in cellular and molecular biology right here in the state of Michigan from University of Michigan Medical School. And so I'm very well versed in the science of both these mRNA gene therapy vaccines, this kind of technology, as well as what a vaccine is designed to do in the body, what it can do, what it can't do, and the fact that this is extremely complex science that has been oversimplified in the media to basically take away our freedom of choice. What I want to address today in this limited time.
Once again, at the 25-second mark, see how fast it go? At the 25-second mark, she says, freedom of choice. Freedom of choice. When Unc debated Robert F. Kennedy and the boys, this was about privilege. He was amassed around a group of white people that took over the ballroom at Sonetta's event, which is usually a heavily African-American event. It became a popular area for anti-vaxxers, and then a small pocket of black people. And in that group, white privilege stood out. This was challenging their Second Amendment. You were taking a gun away. They spoke out about choice. This is about choice. All right, let's go.
Is the fact that vaccine requirements and mandates are based on the faulty assumption that the vaccines in question prevent transmission of the pathogen, right? Does the vaccine for DTaP prevent transmission? No. Does the vaccine for flu prevent transmission? No. Do the vaccines for COVID prevent transmission? No. In fact, they were never designed to do that. All right, so you're asking, what about this 95% effectiveness? If you look at those clinical trials, they do not say that they prevent transmission. They expressly say that they're measuring whether they attenuate symptoms. So they're 95% effective based on their
All right, so at the minute and 10-second mark, when she talks about transmission, we just went through several sources that beat the transmission part of it up. We know from the very first original variant all the way up until Delta, transmission was not an issue. Transmission didn't become an issue until we got to Delta, and then we just realized that viral load does not have anything to do with more contagious than unvaccinated. Unvaccinated people are more contagious than vaccinated people. And then we realized that the reduction of transmission is still present in 71% of us against the Delta variant. Okay, so hold on one second, y'all. Okay. Right here, this diagram is under the Journal of Nature article. If you go back to the description of the video, I'm trying to help somebody out in the chat for people that are viewing this. If you go to the description of the video, it should take you directly to, let me make sure I mute. If you go to the description, all right, so we go in the description of the video, right? And we get to nature. We click on nature. And when the article come up, just scroll down a little bit and it's right there. Let me know if it pull up for you. No, let me know if it pulls up, please. And there go your diagram right there. All of that right there. Make sure you click it. Now look, you could have clicked on this Nature article. I didn't go into this Nature article. I went into this Nature article. It's 2 Nature articles in the description. So if you went into the description and you just did this and clicked on that one, then you clicked on the wrong article. You got to go down to the second to last article. And that's probably where the confusion is right there. So let me know if that worked. I'll look at the chat to see if you got that.
Clinical trials at attenuating symptoms for the first variant, which is essentially gone in our population. Right now, the predominant variant is the Delta, and CDC Director Walensky basically said that these vaccines have no ability to prevent infection by and transmission of the Delta variant. So our policy needs not to be built on the hope of what we think something we want it to do, but what the data actually tell us. So do these viruses do the vaccines prevent the virus from infecting and replicating in the nose and nasopharynx? No.
All right, so let's run this back. Do the virus
and replicating in the nose and nasopharynx? No. Do the vaccines prevent the virus from infecting and replicating in the nose and nasopharynx? No.
All right, so do the vaccine, hold up, let me hear it slowly. Because I ain't deal with this one.
Do these viruses do the vaccines prevent the virus from infecting and replicating in the nose?
All right. There's a study on this. She confuses it so much. Intranasal vaccines aim to stop COVID-19 where it starts. Vaccines that are sprayed into the nose could induce mucosal immunity and help stop the spread of coronavirus if they develop some stuff that make it work. All right. The vaccine was granted my sustained immunity tapping branch. SARS-CoV enters through our noses where it encounters a protein called ACE2, which is found in abundance in the nasal passages. ACE2 is the virus doorway into our cells. In fact, the mucosal membranes that line our airways, digestive systems, and reproductive tracts are often the first parts of our bodies. Yeah, we know that immune system. The network immune cells reside underneath our mucous membranes or mucosae and forms a frontline defense against invaders, and they prevent most infections from taking root. This is the mucosal immune system. Yep. So when you think about it, that's where we acquire most of our infections. All right. So this is why she's saying what she's saying. Now, our mucosal immune cells make a special class of antibodies that are constantly secret from the mucous membranes to protect the nose, gut, and other vulnerable sites from pathogens we've seen in the past. But if you don't stimulate the immune system in the mucosae, you don't obtain mucosal immune response. That's something natural infection problems, deal with that. So we're dealing with a vaccinologist and a virologist here. All right, there you go, credential. Now, most research on SARS-CoV-2 and our immune system has overlooked mucosal immunity in favor of the easier to study systemic immunity. When the pandemic hit last year, I started to see papers coming out about immunity. It really quite staggered me to see an absence of attention to the mucosal immune response. So let's see what we learn. Charnay and a group of scientists in Paris have shown that natural SARS-CoV-2 infection trigger both systemic and mucosal immunity. But our current crop of COVID-19 vaccines offer only systemic protection. Developing vaccines that are sprayed up the nose rather than injected into the arm could change that. Mucosal immunity in our noses could be like a guard at door, potentially helping stop even small infections of SARS-CoV-2. Now, I'm going to stop right here because I need to put this in the chat. However, I already know where this is going. Okay? Intranasal immunity was not an issue. Remember, with none of the variants. This has everything to do with the Delta. When we removed the mask and Delta became widespread, they began to say you need to put back on the mask. Because having the mask on when you're going into these public areas is helping you protect yourself from the nasal uptick of the Delta variant, even though your vaccine is protecting you against it, but it is keeping one of the pathways out. This is where the mask science comes into play. But they're also making, and we all knew this, if you've never watched Science with Sean, or you might not have heard us argue with this before, but we all knew that they were making a nasal spray for COVID-19. That's something that we knew because they needed an alternative for anti-vaxxers. Now, will anti-vaxxers get the nasal spray? That is the question. Man, I am not looking at listen, bro, I'm not looking at no TikTok. I swear to you, I ain't. I thank you for sending it, but I ain't. He said, we got CT values to debunk that. Okay, boom. Malcolm is in the chat. She alluded to antibody-dependent enhancement. Yes, she did. She went into the ADE. She did wrong on the ADE. See, I didn't want to deal with the ADE because we already dealt with the ADE. She used every anti-vaccine talking point in this spectrum. This is why I'm slowing it all the way down for a third time, because I can go back and I can deal with what I'm hearing in the moment. Yeah, we dealt with ADE in the other video. For people unfamiliar with ADE, I really don't want to bring that up, but I had this argument with a brother on Facebook, and it's on Unc's page. Let me see if I can get back to that source. Oh, look, I got MedPage. So ADE, and I'm just going to sum it up for everybody that's listening. ADE in vaccines was prevalent in 1960. There was 2 vaccines that it was prevalent in, measles, and I can't think of the other one right now. After 1960s, ADE was not a problem, and it's still not a problem for COVID-19 vaccines. Okay? Now, if COVID-19 vaccines cause ADE, people who are vaccinated against COVID-19 would have more severe disease. That's right there. We don't have people with more severe disease. We don't. Okay? So I don't need to go through all of this, but because she says it, and I had this argument with a brother on Facebook, and then he tried to give me Dr. Offit's video, which was clearly explaining to the brother that ADE was not an issue with COVID-19 vaccines. He failed to realize that there's also more information in other source sites. That's why you see all the blue highlighted. So yeah, I'm glad Malcolm is right there. It does give me an opportunity to, you know, deal with her stuff, but I'm slowing it down for that particular reason. I think didn't I put this in there? Boy, this got some homework in it. This episode full of source. This episode here got some daggers. I ain't even lying. And it's crazy because I'll be on here 2 hours talking about something. They be on a video for 8 minutes just rambling. And you got to go and you got to methodically slow them all the way down and extend. You have a whole extended show off of that foolishness. So let's deal with a little bit more, and then I'm gonna break this up.
And nasopharynx, no, they've only been shown to prevent that replication in the lungs. They're different. The mucosa is very different than the lungs. It's very different than the blood. You inject it to the blood, you make antibodies in your blood. The virus isn't infecting your blood, it's infecting your mucosa.
She's wrong again, but I'm not going to chase her down about the blood infection because it's showing up in the blood and it's causing blood clots. COVID-19, not the vaccine, ladies and gentlemen. COVID-19 creates blood clots. Oh, you don't believe me? Okay, all right. Sean, where's the science on that? Take me to the science. Don't just talk about it, Sean. I got you. Okay, that's real. I can respect that. I can respect that. I spent the whole year trying to figure out what COVID-19, how COVID-19 affects people. The whole, since this pandemic. November 2nd, 2020, new cause of COVID-19 blood clots identified. COVID-19 patients at higher risk. Okay, so you see in your blood, where these little wires right here, they're trying to help you. They're trying to help you. Blood clots continue to wreak havoc for patients with severe COVID-19 infection, and a new study explains what may spark them up to half of the patients. The culprit, autoimmune antibody that's circulating in the blood, attacking the cells and triggering clots in arteries, veins, and microscopic vessels. Blood clots can cause life-threatening events like strokes. And in COVID-19, microscopic clots may restrict blood flow in the lungs, impairing oxygen exchange. Outside of novel coronavirus infection, these clots causing antibodies are typically seen in patients who have an autoimmune disease. Antiphospholipid syndrome. The connection between the autoantibodies and COVID-19 was unexpected, says a corresponding author. All right. In patients with COVID-19, we continue to see a relentless self-amplifying cycle of inflammation and clotting in the body. This ain't got nothing to do with the vaccine. See, boy, this is gonna be the most science-based video you're gonna get on. Now the experts, they might be able to go faster and do a better job, but I'm just letting y'all know, I spent all that time studying the effects of COVID-19 because I needed to know. I needed to know for my grandmother's sake. I needed to know for my sister's sake. You're going to see this in my book. There's some things that you're going to see in my book that's going to be very relevant. And Anusha Chavis just put you in timeout. I ain't got nothing to do with it. He put you in timeout for 300 seconds. I had nothing to do with that. You can get up with your buddy, and figure out why he timed you out. Now, some of the worst clottings we've ever seen. I don't want to do this to y'all, but in the new Science Translational Medicine publication, they talked about very sick people. COVID-19 patients at higher risk of blood clots after surgery, study shows. I don't want to do this, but this is what we listening to. We're listening to these people, so let's go. Slow walk.
And you don't produce any IgA to neutralize it.
Okay, so now you know about the clotting. See, I skipped over that part, but I brought up this article about the IgA dominates the early neutralizing antibody response. So now you know about the IgA, and Malcolm can actually go a little bit further in that. And now we're having an argument because now we know SARS-CoV-2, the disease, COVID-19, the disease, is causing blood clots. Now she just played us for a game. She played us for a joke with the IgA mentioning. She played us for a joke.
In fact, recent studies have shown that the vaccinated, especially with the Delta variant, and the unvaccinated have similar amounts of virus in their nose and throat.
All right. That takes us back to our local epidemiologist, and she's talking about viral load, but she says nose and throat. So let's see. I'm helping her out. See, we know what they're talking about, but we knew back in April. We knew about viral load. So we came to our local epidemiologist. Viral load doesn't necessarily mean contagiousness. Viral load is simply the amount of the virus we can find in your system. Viral load doesn't necessarily mean contagiousness. Viral load is simply the amount of virus we can find in your system.
In Barnstable, Massachusetts, the CDC tracked an outbreak of 460.
All right, so let's bring up Barnstable, and I'm gonna show y'all what Barnstable is. Y'all know how to Barnstable COVID study. Y'all know I've been doing this. You know I've been doing this. The Barnstable outbreak proved that the COVID-19 vaccines work. That boy Chavis then timed out Nunu for 300 seconds. She got a 5-minute period. She can't even type. Boy Chavis, you and then he ain't even apologized. And he still ain't apologized. So here go the outbreak. So in summary, variants of SARS-CoV-2 continue to emerge. We're talking about Deltas are very highly transmissible. In July 2021, following multiple large public, I ain't gonna put this in the chat. We got this already. We dealt with it. We understood that 469 cases were identified in Massachusetts. This is an event held by the homosexual community, well, the LGBTQ. Let me say, I'm sorry, the LGBTQZ, whatever the initials are, community. 469 COVID cases were identified. All right, 74% were in fully vaccinated people. The Delta variant, 90% of the specimens, 133 patients. We know about the cycle threshold, okay? In that finding, we determined that 0 deaths occurred, all right? 4 people who were fully vaccinated went to the hospital. You don't believe me? Here you go right here. I know what it look. All right, asymptomatic people, 133 people had asymptomatic response. We know that they had Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson, but we don't know at what level some of these people were in that situation. This study showed how well vaccines work against preventing disease, death, and hospitalizations. They had 0 deaths. Out of the breakthroughs, 127 breakthrough infections, 0 deaths, 4 hospitalized. Among the vaccinated group, 4 hospitalized, no deaths. Now, let's reverse this. Let's reverse this. Now, 84 persons who were unvaccinated, not fully vaccinated, or was vaccinated status was unknown, changes. There was an increase. Okay? So we learned a lot about that study because they call it a study, but these people just went to the event. They were tracking this event, just like the biker event. So what these virologists and epidemiologists and do is they look at how many people show up to an event, how many people over that period of time were hospitalized, how many people tested. They're doing all of this, right? They're trying to gather data from those events, and the data that they gathered from the events and brought back to us was boom, bam, bow. $346 people, 74% with COVID reported symptoms consistent with COVID-19. 5 were hospitalized. On the 27th of July, no deaths were reported. 1 hospitalized patient was not vaccinated, had multiple underlying conditions. 4 additionally fully vaccinated between 20 and 70 were also hospitalized for underlying conditions. Initial genomic sequencing of the specimens from 133 people identified the Delta variant in 119, which is 89% cases of the Delta sublineage. So we know that. So she brought that study up, the pump fakers.
69 cases of COVID, 74% occurred in fully vaccinated, and 4 out of 5 of those hospitalized were vaccinated.
4 out of 5 of those hospitalized were vaccinated. So only listen to how she tweaked that. I want y'all to listen to it. Now, I done went over it, but listen to how she played it.
Vaccinated, and 4 out of 5 of those hospitalized occurred in fully vaccinated, and 4 out of 5 of those hospitalized were vaccinated.
See? It make it seem like it's a lot. And 4 out of 5. Look how she run all the data together and not really break it down.
Of COVID, 74 in Barnstable, Massachusetts, the CDC tracked an outbreak of 469 cases of COVID. 74% occurred in fully vaccinated, and 4 out of 5 of those hospitalized were vaccinated.
See, 469 cases. 4 and 5 of them are hospitalized. I can't make this up.
74% occurred in fully vaccinated, 469. In Barnstable, Massachusetts, the CDC tracked an outbreak of 469 cases of COVID. 74% occurred in fully vaccinated, and 4 out of 5 of those hospitalized were vaccinated.
See what I'm saying? She doesn't give the true data based on how she ran it down. How she ran it down made it seem like 469 people, 74% of the people were fully vaccinated, and 4 out of the 5 went to the hospital. She never mentioned how many unvaccinated people was in the area. She never mentioned that there was only 100 and something people. You see what I'm saying? She didn't really go over the science, the data. She used pieces of the data to make an argument. This is how slick she was right here. Now, I don't know if this was intentionally or whatever, but she really messed that up. So let's go behind her. Damn, I don't want to do this. Let's go back to the study. Damn. July 2021, 469 cases of COVID associated with multiple summer events. For July 2021, during July, let's just say this, okay? Everybody walk with me. Like Uja would say. During July 2021, 469 cases of COVID-19 associated with multiple summer events and large public gatherings in Barnesdale, Massachusetts were identified residents among residents and non-residents. Coverage among eligible Massachusetts residents was 69%. So we know 69% of the people in Massachusetts, right? 69% of this 469 were from Massachusetts. Approximately 346. Okay, if 69% of the people was this number, 346 people, or 74% of the people of cases occurred in fully vaccinated people, those who had completed at least 2 doses of Moderna, Pfizer, or had received a single dose Johnson & Johnson 14 days before exposure. Genomic sequencing specimens from 132 identified the Delta variant. SARS-CoV-2, the virus that caused COVID-19, in 119, 89% of the Delta sublineage in 1%. Overall, 274 or 79% of the vaccinated patients with breakthrough infections were symptomatic. Among 5 COVID-19 patients who were hospitalized, 4 were fully vaccinated. No deaths were reported. Real-time reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction, or RT-PCR, cycle threshold values in 127 vaccinated patients. Those 84 persons who were unvaccinated, not fully vaccinated, or vaccination status was unknown. The Delta variant can go on through there. I don't want to, go through all of this, but she slicked it right there. That was the hell of a pump fake. She used the data, but she worded it in a way that would benefit. Y'all scared to check because of Chavez.
All right, so maybe they are mandating this because they just didn't know with the COVID. And so my main complaint is with our health agencies and the CDC, who basically know better and are misleading the public. So let's look at DTaP, which the scientists and the...
All right. She dealt with COVID. Now she went to DTaP. Now that she at DTaP, she loses us because this meeting is about COVID and vaccines. She's talking about Bill 4471, which prohibits certain vaccinations as a condition of employment. But then she started talking about DTaP. So when she started talking about DTaP, and I don't know if Malcolm, if you was on earlier, this was she referring to. DTaP, killed by DTaP OPV 1985. We're in 2021. We have advanced science so well that we ain't seeing DTaP deaths. Oh, am I making it up? Minnesota health officials have confirmed an infant death related to pertussis, also known as whooping cough. The infant was diagnosed with pertussis in August 2019, died in November after being hospitalized for 3 months. The last pediatric death related to pertussis in Minnesota was 2013. Extremely saddened. Anyone with pertussis. Preliminary data for 2019 shows that there were 25 cases of pertussis in infants less than 6 months old in Minnesota. Of those, 8 were hospitalized and 2 hospitalized cases were severe. Infants who get pertussis can get very sick and need hospitalization. So she doesn't want a vaccine to prevent infant death. Health officials are emphasizing the importance of vaccination, especially during pregnancies that help prevent pertussis. The vaccine prevents this. Watch. Ehrmans explained that when the Tdap vaccine is given during pregnancy, the mother's body creates antibodies to fight off the pertussis bacteria. Some of those antibodies are passed to the baby before birth and offer short-term protection until the baby can start to receive their own vaccine. In 2018-2019, Minnesota had 41 cases of pertussis among infants less than 6 months. Upon review, only 44% of the mothers received the Tdap during pregnancy. "18 people out of 41 between 2018 and 2019 got the shot." We're missing opportunities to vaccinate during pregnancy and protect vulnerable infants from a serious disease. This is crazy, yo. This lady is anti-vaccine for Tdap, talking about it caused a child's death. But here it is, 18 out of the 41. Come on, yo. See, she sent me down. That's why I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to go vaccine for vaccine. She gonna send me down the rabbit hole. She don't want these kids vaccinated against whooping cough. But we just seen where 2 kids died from whooping cough.
CDC have known since 2014 that the acellular pertussis vaccine does not prevent people from getting infected with the pertussis bacteria and passing.
Listen, man. It's just one claim after another claim after another claim. Ladies and gentlemen, vaccines prevent hospitalization, death, and the spread of disease. Vaccines, if they aid in infection, that's a plus. And a lot of vaccines, and even the COVID vaccine, there's a lot of vaccines that prevent infection, prevent the spread of infectious disease, I should say. And some of them have the ability to prevent infection, but that is not the overall gestation. mRNA vaccine trial data was not set up to prevent infection. It was set up to prevent the spread of disease, hospitalizations, and death, meaning reducing the symptoms to nothing, to those of a simple cough. You know, when you get like a cold, like a summer cold or a winter cold, you've actually been infected with some type of virus during the summer or the winter or whenever you developed a cold. In developing that cold, that is nothing but an infectious disease that you've encountered that caused you to have that cold. You don't know which disease it is because you didn't go get tested. You didn't do any nasal testing. You didn't do none of that. That is why you had Dr. Z talking about taking this COVID-19 virus pandemic and reducing it to an endemic or potential cold, meaning driving the symptoms all the way down to less severe. But let's go.
It to others. In fact, it was never designed to do that. The vaccine was designed to neutralize the pertussis toxin. Pertussis, we know it as whooping cough. It can be fatal for children under 6 months.
So if you know that it can be fatal for children under 6 months, why the hell are you against the vaccine? She just told us that the pertussis, the whooping cough, could be deadly for children under 6 months. Oh, y'all don't believe me? Y'all ain't listening to it. Y'all working. I understand you're distracted.
Were designed to do that. The vaccine was designed to neutralize the pertussis toxin. Pertussis, we know it as whooping cough. It can be fatal for children under 6 months. So neutralizing this toxin saves lives. All right. I'm not going to debate that.
Oh, she's not going to debate that. Let's go back. Why the hell is this on your page? You don't want to debate it, but you got it on your page. Dr. Parks, it's on your page. Look at you. This is you, Dr. Parks. You. And we know it's you because you got it all on your page and you sharing this same little video on your page over and over. So people can't sit here and say that ain't Dr. Parks. Yes, it is. It's Dr. Parks. I looked up. I was being scientific in my endeavors. I wanted to know more about the claimant because we don't know where these people come from. They just show up all of a sudden and go viral. World Star, all of that. She's on World Star. Sean will never be on World Star. They won't never clip me up and let me go through and shut down stuff because it goes against the status quo.
Be fatal for children under 6. It was never designed to do that. The vaccine was designed to neutralize the pertussis toxin. Pertussis, we know it as whooping cough. It can be fatal for children under 6 months. So neutralizing this toxin saves lives. All right.
She's against DTaP, bro. What part of this you don't understand? She is an anti-vaxxer, bro. She's telling you that. She's an anti-vaxxer. You talking about bring her to the panel? Go get her. She can come on and explain herself. She's in bed with Robert F. Kennedy, bro. What are you talking about? He said, my guy. I've been proving it for 2 hours. Robert F. Kennedy, right here. Who is Robert F. Kennedy? She is an anti-vaxxer. Man, I'm glad y'all show up because y'all don't be knowing what y'all talking about. Look. Pfizer has a BLA. You can't use Gloria. You can't use sweetie. You can't use VAERS as a source for something. VAERS is a reporting system. It is not a fact. Okay? So let's just go by your math. If Pfizer received from July the 7th, 2021, right? If confirmed, right? The CDC confirmed, as you said, confirmed 5,946 reports of death among people who received the COVID-19 vaccine. As you stated, there is 70, 80, almost 70, let's cut it in half. Let's say there's 70 million people in America vaccinated with Pfizer and you had 5,000 deaths. Do that. Deal with that. 70 million fully vaccinated people and you only got 5,000 deaths. If we just do your numbers. This dude said, where's her page? It's on the screen, bro. Christina Parks. This is her. Studies cellular and molecular biology at the University of Michigan. She says that at the introduction of her video. She also shows on here several times. Several times I haven't even been able to see this on my own page. This is her. So don't sit here and tell me where's her page, where's this, where's that. Come on, my guy. What are you doing? Yeah, Robert Kennedy is an anti-vaxxer. What does that have to do with her? She's promoting it. What do you mean? She called the vaccine gene therapy, my guy. Who does that? Anti-vaxxers. She talked about she has all the anti-vaccine talking points, my guy. Who does that? Who the hell would want to be associated with Robert F. Kennedy? My guy. I ain't making no straw man. My guy, I'm searching the author. You don't know what a straw man is because I ain't made a claim against her. Let's go.
Right? I'm not going to debate that. But what it doesn't do is neutralize the bacteria. So what happens?
Let's go back.
Toxin,
she puts her foot in
it
her
was
mouth.
never designed to do that. The vaccine was designed to neutralize bacteria and passing it to others. In fact, it was never designed to do that. The vaccine was designed to neutralize the pertussis toxin. Pertussis, we know it as whooping cough. It can be fatal for children under 6 months. So neutralizing this toxin saves lives. All right, I'm not going to debate that.
So you know it saves lives, but you're against vaccinating children under 6 months for with using the detail. She's against it. He says that I'm making it up. It's against it. Exactly. Bacteria. She has no idea. She's not a biologist. She doesn't know how things work. And therefore, we get people on the floor that go viral in 8 minutes and 44 seconds using something. See, I wasn't going to continue to play this. I was going to get off of this. But we got people in the chat who is misinformed and don't know what the hell they talking about. I got one, Sister Gloria. Thank you for posting. You putting VAERS data in there. VAERS is not a fact. VAERS is a reporting system. You can report 10,000 deaths. That doesn't make it true. What can we prove? What can we prove from a reporting system? Nothing, because it says it on VAERS reporting system. Oh, so let's deal with that and I'll come back to that. So what is VAERS? What's VAERS? Oh my geez, I didn't want to do this, but we going on and on. We got anti-vaxxers in the chat, and I'm having an exciting time right now. About VAERS. Okay? About VAERS. Established in 1990. VAERS is a nationally early warning symptom to detect possible safety problems in the U.S. licensed vaccines. VAERS is co-managed by the CDC and the U.S. Drug Administration, FDA. VAERS accepts and analyzes reports of adverse events, possible side effects after a person has received the vaccination. Anyone can report an adverse event to VAERS. Healthcare professionals are required to report certain adverse events, and vaccine manufacturers are required to report all adverse events that come to their attention. VAERS is a passive reporting system. What is passive, Gloria? Let's look up the word passive. Accepting or allowing what happens or what others do without active response or resistance. Okay? A passive reporting system, meaning it relies on individuals to send in reports of their experiences to the CDC and FDA. VAERS is not designed to determine if a vaccine caused a health problem. I'm going to say it again. VAERS is not designed to determine if a vaccine caused a health problem, but is especially useful for detecting unusual or unexpected patterns of adverse events reporting that might indicate a possible safety problem with a vaccine. This way, VAERS can provide the CDC and the FDA with valuable information that additional work and evaluation is necessary, further assesses a possible safety concern. How well does VAERS work? VAERS works so well that they paused the Johnson & Johnson vaccination over 6 European women who had a problem with blood clots. When they investigated it further, they found an additional 22. 6 of the 22 were men. The rest were in women between the ages of 18 and 54 years of age or somewhere like that. I might be messing it up. Okay? And then other information came out behind that. But out of the initial 6 women that of the verified reports, 1 transitioned. They were European women between a certain age group. that developed these situations. One of them, clotting issue, did that. More people have died from COVID-19 blood clots than a vaccine blood clot, which is one. Okay? So I'm going to give you that. All right? I'm going to give you that. I'm going to say the vaccine influenced the issue. Okay? All right, I'm going to go there with you. I'm going to go there with you. Okay? So just so you know that you can't use VAERS as a source to prove something when it just collects data from anyone. It doesn't know how true it is or anything like that. It doesn't. It doesn't. Okay? When evaluating data from VAERS, it is important to note that for any report event, no cause and effect relationship has been established. I'm gonna say it one more time. One more time for Gloria. Subscribe to the channel. When evaluating data from VAERS, it is important to note that for any reported event, no cause and effect relationship has been established. Reports of all possible associations between vaccines and adverse events, possible side effects, are filed in VAERS. Therefore, VAERS collects data on any adverse event following vaccination, but it coincidental or truly caused what? Be it coincidental or truly caused, run that back. Tell the DJ to run that back. Therefore, VAERS collects data on any adverse event following vaccination, be it coincidental or truly caused by a vaccine. The report of an adverse event to VAERS is not documentation that what? That a vaccine caused the event. VAERS data limitations. Gloria, did you know this? Excuse me, ma'am. Did you really understand what I just said? To all you anti-vaxxers, did you really get what I just said? Can we move on now? Please. Or do I need to continue? I just need to whisper this in your ear because I need to know if I need to continue to explain to you what VAERS is and what it's not. When reviewing data from VAERS, please keep in mind the following limitations. VAERS is a passive reporting system, meaning that reports about adverse events are not automatically collected, but require a report to be filed to VAERS. VAERS reports can be submitted voluntarily by anyone, including healthcare providers, patients, and family members. Reports vary in quality and completeness. They often lack details and sometimes can have information that contains errors. Underreporting is one of the main limitations of passive surveillance systems, including VAERS. The term underreporting refers to the fact that VAERS receives reports for only a small fraction of actual adverse events. The degree of underreporting varies widely. As an example, a great many of millions of vaccination administration each year by injection cause soreness, but relatively few of these episodes lead to a VAERS report because you know that you're going to have soreness at the injection site, right? Vaccines and patients understand that minor side effects of vaccinations often include this kind of discomfort, as well as low fevers. On the other hand, more serious and unexpected medical events are probably more likely to be reported than minor ones, especially when they occur soon after vaccination, even if they may be coincidental and related to other causes. A report to VAERS generally does not prove that the identified vaccines caused the adverse event described. I'm gonna say that again. Gloria, thank you. A report to VAERS generally does not prove that the identified vaccines caused the adverse event described. It only confirms that the reported event occurred sometime after vaccine was given. No proof that the event was caused by the vaccine is required in order for VAERS to accept a report. VAERS accepts all reports without judging whether the event was caused by the vaccine. Ding, 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 ding. Jeez. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to take your data and lessen the validity of it. However, time for Tyson, my dog, to get a vaccine. They keep sending me emails. Oh my, geez, I need to get my dog an appointment so he can go get his vaccine. All right, so let's have some fun. Anaphylaxis after COVID-19 vaccines is rare. 2 to 5 people per million vaccinated in the US. Thrombosis. More than 14 million doses of Janssen's vaccine went out to people. Women younger than 50 years old especially be aware of rare increased risk of adverse events. This is the Janssen that I talked about, right? There were 44 confirmed reports. 44 confirmed reports, but 14 million doses went out. Do the math on that. 44 divided by 14 million. Please, that's how rare it is. What is that? For every 1 million, you may get a few, 3, something like that, something crazy, something less. To date, 2 confirmed cases of TTS following mRNA vaccinations Moderna have been reported to VAERS after more than 346 million doses of mRNA COVID vaccine has been administered. To add, hey, Gloria, you still listening? Let me know because I'm not disrespecting you at all. But I'm just trying to help educate you that the CDC is updating every day. To date, 2 out of 346 million doses of TTS following the vaccine has been reported, and they both were in Moderna. Fire. Come on now. That's hella rare. So let's deal with Guillain-Barré syndrome, right? Anti-vaxxers love to bring this up. They always talk about, and I'm really doing this too for my boy, Everything is Everything in the chat, because he gonna send this to his homeboy. He gonna tell him to watch this minute mark, Sean break it down. Okay. GBS in people who have received Janssen vaccine. GBS is a rare disorder where the body's immune system damages the nervous cells, causing a muscle weakness, right? Most people fully recover from GBS, but some were permanent nerve damage. After more than 14 million J&J shots administered, there have been only 167 preliminary reports of GBS identified by VAERS. August 18, 2021. These cases have largely been reported about 2 weeks after vaccination and mostly in men. Many of them 50 years and older. They're going to continue to monitor that though. Myocarditis. The number one thing that comes up, myocarditis is happening so much. As of August 18, 2021, VAERS only reported 1,339 reports of myocarditis in people 30 years and younger who have received a COVID-19 vaccine. Most cases have been reported in the Moderna vaccination and Pfizer, but the mRNA vaccines, particularly in male adolescents and young adults. Through the follow-up, including medical record reviews, CDC and the FDA confirmed 778 reports of myocarditis out of 346 million doses administered. They only found it in people under 30 years old, and there was only 778. That's hella rare. That's like some new Jordans that you never seen before. A hella rare pair. Reports of death. This is for Gloria. Sweetheart, don't leave me. Stay with me. Listen very closely. Reports of death after COVID-19 vaccination are rare. More than 363 million doses of COVID-19 were administered in the United States between December 14th to August 2021. During this time, VAERS has received 6,968 reported deaths. That's a death rate of 0.0019% among people who received the COVID vaccine. The FDA requires healthcare providers to report any death after COVID-19 vaccinations to VAERS, even if it's unclear whether the vaccine was caused. Okay? 360 million doses. 6,968 reported VAERS. Oh my geez. And guess what? We can go even further. We can go even further. Watch this. But what about the vaccinated people? What about the vaccinated people? They got breakthrough infections. These people dying from the vaccinated people. What about the vaccinated people, Sean? They getting vaccinated and they getting sick too. Okay. We expect vaccinated breakthroughs to happen. That's why they don't say 100%. That's why the vaccines have an efficacy rate. More than 171 million people have been fully vaccinated. Keep that in your head. More than 170 million people have been fully vaccinated. I'm going to go directly to the chart. Let's go. Okay. As of August 23rd, a couple of days ago, during the same time, the CDC reports from 49 states, 11,050 patients with COVID-19 breakthrough infections who were hospitalized or died. 11,050. So let's break that down, right? Let's break that down. Okay? Because you don't know the actual numbers until you break it down. Females present the highest number than males. They make up 45% of the deaths. Okay, so the total deaths was 2,063 out of 11,000 breakthrough infections, right? It's highest. Females, 919. People of the age, people 65 and older, 1,801. They make up 87% of the deaths. Asymptomatic or not COVID related, 440. I'm gonna say it again. Asymptomatic or not COVID related, 440. But they still count in here. Okay. Hospitalized non-fatal, 48%, 4,300. People over the age of 65, hospitalized, 70%. Asymptomatic or not COVID related, 2,200. Okay. Patients had, look, the asterisk means the patients had no symptoms of their hospitalization or death was not COVID related. Patient had no symptoms of COVID-19 or their hospitalizations. All right, so we cool there. We cool. Previous data on all vaccination breakthrough cases reported CDC from January to April. Okay, so out of 6, let me bring the reality back into it. Out of 600 230,000 deaths reported for COVID-19. 2,063 was breakthrough. Sean, where you calculated at? Where you calculated, Sean? Where you calculated, Sean? Okay. 2,063 divided by 630,000 equal 0.003274. Okay? 0.003% of the population we lost. 0.003 in the vaccinated group. Okay? Now we got 6,000 hospitalized, 8,987. Do y'all really want me to do the math on that? From how many people went to the hospital that's unvaccinated versus people in the breakthrough, okay? We're going to have the same math. It's going to be like 0.001 or 0.0009 something. It's going to be less than that, okay? This is why I say I don't need a booster shot. Because the data says that 99% of the hospitalizations are in the unvaccinated group. And 99% of the deaths in the United States are in the unvaccinated group. 99.998.8 some. I don't need it. I'm vaccinated. Where my girl at, man? Y'all done ran off. Don't tell me that you blocked her. I'm feeling right. I'm feeling Gloria. She throwing stuff out there. I rocks with Gloria. Now the NA Productions dude, I don't care what he talking about, but Gloria, she can come in here and she probably left though. You ran off. She can come in and post whatever she want. Let her post. We ain't gonna argue with her. She a female. She trying to learn. At least she bringing something. The other dude brought his feelings. She brought her facts based on what she looked up. Well, her data, I should say. Let me see what my brother said. What he say up here, because he looks pseudo. So she's not a PhD in molecular science. No, you just wrong. She hasn't said that in the video. Oh, okay. All right, so let's go back. And then we're going to wrap up. Well, actually, we're wrapping up right now, but it just looks like a long wrap up.
But what it doesn't do is neutralize the bacteria. So what happens is fully vaccinated children go to daycare, they pick up that bacteria, and they come home and they give it to their newborn brother or sister.
So don't you want them to be vaccinated so they don't pick up that bacteria and bring it home and give it to their newborn brother and sister?
They get deathly ill and they go to the hospital. Hopefully our medical professionals are able to save them. But who do they blame? Now the CDC is blaming anti-vaxxers for the limitations of this vaccine design.
Well, they are blaming anti-vaxxers because you had a group of people who refused to get these kids vaccinated, and then a child dies against a preventable death, a disease. Against a preventable disease, a child dies. Hell yeah, we're going to blame anti-vaxxers because it's anti-vaxxers' fault that this child died. This child should have never died. Had this child gotten vaccinated against a deadly disease, which you stated, Dr. Parks, they wouldn't have experienced the death. They would have survived whooping cough. And the child would still be here today. No family mourns. No problem. Because we're not seeing whooping cough deaths like that. That's how well whooping cough vaccine works, so much so that people then forgot about whooping cough. Just like measles, mumps, and rubella. But what you gonna do to us? You're gonna hit us with the autism.
I suggest that they be transparent and tell parents that although it is preventing severe disease in their children, it is not preventing transmission, because
she ain't talking about COVID, y'all. She's talking about the whooping cough. And I don't want to get into the whooping cough conversation because everybody's been vaccinated against whooping cough. And that particular virus has been one of the eradicated viruses. They say eradicated because it doesn't happen as often in the population. Very seldom, very small, very minute.
We have created a whole class of asymptomatic pertussis carriers who are increasing the disease. Now, the old DTP vaccine that many of you who are my age or older got did prevent transmission. When we switched to the safer acellular version, they knew that it was never designed to prevent transmission. It was safer, it had less adverse events, but pertussis cases have gone through the roof. There's a resurgence in pertussis.
I want to see her paper in her hand. She got a spiral notebook, and then she got some talking points on 2 sheets. And I don't see a lot, but it looked like she made her argument and some points that she wanted to get to. Because she'll look down at the sheet and then she'll address it. But I think that this same sheet that she got right here, this lady that spoke to, which is part of the anti-vax movement, she got the same sheet. And I think that, you know, this is a playbook that they got.
Is because of the design of the vaccine, and the vaccinologists know this. They're trying to address it, and so we cannot mandate that something that does not prevent transmission. All right, what about the flu vaccine? Well, they have shown cause, although that first year it continue. I want to address this because it's very important. Vaccines are made to a specific variant, and when that variant mutates, the vaccine no longer recognizes it. And so it's like you're seeing a completely new virus. And because that's so, you actually get more severe symptoms when you're vaccinated against one variant, and then it mutates, and then your body sees the other variants.
I wish I had the skills of Jehudi, because I would let her say that, and then I would come to the source that just kill her. Where it go? Where my source at? Nope. I want to go back to where my one of these. So I could use any of these sources, but this source and this source, killer. So when she makes that assessment about the variants, then I can come here. You know what I'm saying? And then I can read that study against the variants. Or I can be more specific and I can deal with that. These two deal with them too. These deal with them too, right? But I can come back to that and I can go through there. And then when she get to talking about gene therapy, we can go through that too. You see what I'm saying? So like she say that, and then all of a sudden I just slide in real slick like, and then hit her with the daggers because the information is there. All right, let's wrap up. Shoot, my bad.
So there's the potential, and the science shows that, in fact, with the flu, if you get vaccinated in multiple years, you are more likely to get severe disease. You are more likely to have more viral replication.
Where's Malcolm at? Malcolm, where you at? Malcolm, where you at, bro? You administer vaccines. Where you at? Where you at, bro? Malcolm, you still here? Come on, man. You got to be still here. I got to ask you a question. I got to ask you a question. This is where I'm stuck at, right here, because there's no science on this.
Flu, if you get vaccinated in body sees the other variant. So there's the potential, and the science shows that, in fact, with the flu, if you get vaccinated in multiple years, you are more likely to get severe disease. You are more likely to have.
Where's the science that says, can you hit the link, bro? I need you to answer this question for me, bro. What vaccine that you've gotten boosters for in multiple years that increased your chances of severe disease? What vaccine have you gotten boosters for in multiple years that increased your chances of disease? Brother Malcolm.
What's going on, my guy? You all right?
Man, I'm cooling like a fan, man. I'm cooling like a fan. I need to know something, brother. I need to know what vaccine that requires a booster shot that you've gotten in a couple of years increases your chances of severe disease, my brother.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Sean, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I hear you a little bit, then I don't hear you. You probably gonna have to reposition it, man. You know what I'm saying? Where you at in the house? Look at Sosa. Pseudo Sosa in the building. What up, Sosa? Hold on. Let me get my brother back in here. I need this question. I need this question answered.
Hey, what's up, Sean? My phone went out. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I hear you loud and clear.
All right. What you got, bro?
Okay. Can you, my brother, because you're familiar with this vaccine. You're familiar with vaccines, period. So you administer vaccine. So can you increase your chances of severity against a virus if you got booster shots after a couple of years? What vaccine does that?
I'm not familiar with any vaccine that does that. And one of the most notable vaccines we get a booster for is every 10 years for the tetanus shot.
Okay.
And in fact, I would argue and say that's probably the only way to boost the immune system, actually.
Okay, so you telling me this? Let's go back now. You heard this video.
Oh yeah.
You okay? So all right, and everybody started sending it to me more when I was getting ready to talk about it today. I had it all set up like last week. The first person sent it to me was Ken. He sent it to me. Kenny sent it to me. Was like, dude, just send me this. And I was like, all right, okay. I don't want to listen to it. She looked like, you know what I'm saying? She was unqualified. Then I go look at a Facebook page, and then I see Robert F. Kennedy in the background, and then I sat on it. Punk sent me the video on World Star. I said, I was already going to talk about it today. I said, have you not seen a Facebook page? He was like, send me a Facebook page. See, I got all this information that everybody else ain't got. Now, I done gave Ken some of this information, so he was familiar with what angle I was coming with, but he didn't know the other side of it. So I'm gonna run this back again. I want everybody to listen to what she claims right here.
Against one variant, and then it mutates, and then your body sees the other variant. So there's the potential, and the science shows that, in fact, with the flu, if you get vaccinated in multiple years, you are more likely to get severe disease, you are more likely to have more viral replication, and you are more likely to be hospitalized, both in adults and in children.
Now you heard that.
Absolutely. Yep,
so I'm gonna ask you one more time, my brother. When you get those vaccinations, are you increasing the susceptibility of being of getting more severe disease from these different variants regarding the flu?
No. In my experiences, I had zero clue what you're talking about as it relates to annual illnesses. Now, is there a thing that exists called, and what again, I think that's what she's alluding to, the antibody dependent enhancement. Is there such thing as the concept? Yes, but no, that's not what's happening with these flus and none of these other things.
All right.
So that's
Oh,
yeah, that's great.
okay. So great way to segue into, because you did it in the chat too when we listened to it. She's alluding to ADE. Right. So when we went and we pulled up the ADE, right? We pulled up ADE. I think we did somewhere. Where we pull it up at. So we got so many sources, bro. It's blood clots. But I don't think I pulled up ADE. I thought I did, but we dealt with it on another thing. So let's pull it up. Pull it up now. Or was it
Yeah, I
up here
remember.
earlier?
I think you did hit on. You might have hit on a couple of videos, but I definitely think you hit on one of the videos.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what a lot of
people. I want to give, you know, I want people to understand, right? I want people to understand what I'm saying. As you can see, I already had looked at 2 articles. Another article right here, right? Okay, so we already did this on a couple of ones, and I already gave information. Okay, so do COVID-19 vaccines cause antibody-dependent enhancement? Okay. No. The short answer is no. Okay, the long answer is right here. But a note for concerned parents: 0 vaccines given today cause ADE. ADE has not been caused since 1960. 1960. Now, of course, our favorite epidemiologist talked about this as well, and she goes back and she deals with some things. Okay. She talks about this in regard to a whole other thing. So I, really didn't have to go there. And then you get another article here that's inside of this that deals with the AP that talks about nearly all the deaths and stuff and, coming from unvaccinated people. But the point of this, right, is that it's not happening. So let's go to CHOPS, because CHOPS does a good job at explaining it to parents. And this is on UNCWE's page too. All right. So what is ADE? It occurs when antibodies generate during an immune response recognize and bind to a pathogen, but they are unable to prevent infection. Instead, these antibodies act as Trojan horses, allowing the pathogen to get into the cell and exacerbate the immune system. Now, there was a dude that asked Unc a question. I specifically told this dude that none of the vaccines do that. There were 2 vaccines, the RSV and the measles. You heard me mention measles, but you did not hear me mention this one because I couldn't think of the other one. Both vaccines that cause ADE were tested in 1960s. Since then, the other vaccine has successfully been created by purifying and chemically inactivating the virus with formaldehyde, such as hepatitis A, rabies, and inactivated polio vaccines. These more recent vaccines do not cause ADE. Okay. And then the dengue virus breakout, which you've seen the epidemiologist talking about, which is here. You see here, she's mentioning the 8. These people right here, just so y'all know the link there. It talks about it right here in 2016. The vaccine was given out to 800,000 Philippine children. 14 vaccinated children died encountering dengue virus in the community. It was hypothesized that the children developed antibody response that were not capable of neutralizing a natural virus. Such the vaccine was recommended only for children greater than 9 years of age who had already been exposed to the virus. Other viral vaccines that targeted multiple types of virus have been safely used, including vaccines against polio, rotavirus, and HPV. Now, that's that. Can the COVID vaccines do it? Neither COVID-19 disease nor the COVID-19 vaccines have shown evidence of causing ADE. People infected with SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, have not been likely to develop ADE upon repeat exposure. This is true of the other coronaviruses as well. Likewise, studies of vaccines in the laboratory with animals and or clinical trials in people have not found evidence of ADE. But she says it. She makes mention of it. It is an anti-vaccine talking point. Where is the brother at that kept on saying straw man, this, that, and the third? They gotta be pseudo Jay Voudon. But let me continue. So I got Malcolm up here. I can have some fun now for a little bit.
We are seeing the same thing in COVID with the Delta variant.
So, Malcolm, if you're still here, are we seeing ADE or the same thing that she was just describing regarding the Delta variant in COVID-19, brother? Is the same thing happening?
We're seeing the complete opposite. 99% of the people hospitalized and dying from COVID-19, the disease, are unvaccinated. So if she was correct, it'd be the other way around, or at least equal in number.
So when I went to the CDC reports and I pulled out the data that they actually have regarding the breakthrough infections and then regarding the number that we already know, the unvaccinated, the death count. So when I did that and then we went through and did the math on that. So you mean to tell me that the math that I came up with is supposed to be higher than that? According to her.
Right.
Okay. So she brought no statistical data to this meeting among the House in Michigan floor about this bill. Okay, all right, understood. Okay, let's see if we can get through this other 2 minutes.
And so we are mandating that people get a vaccine that could actually make them more sick when they're exposed to the virus. In fact, this week, a paper came out, and what it showed is that with this Delta variant, when you're vaccinated, your body makes antibodies that are supposed to neutralize the virus, but they were supposed to neutralize the old variant. When they see this new variant, what they're doing is the antibodies are taking the virus and helping it infect the cells.
Okay, so does a vaccine actually do that? Let me rephrase. Does a virus actually do that? A virus enters the cell, takes from others, and do what she just said. Brother Malcolm, did I just stump you? I'm gonna run that back, y'all. Because she says the science was just published this week. There's no data that says the Delta variant, right? The Delta variant is penetrating the cell, capturing information, and making it more powerful. I think, Malcolm, you're on mute. Actually, I know you are. Brother Mathis, she is lying her ass off.
Antibodies that are supposed to neutralize the virus, but they were supposed to neutralize the old variant.
First of all, this is why I say she lying her ass off. Is because we've already shown in this build where the vaccine is infectious against all the variants that it's been tested against. She didn't say that. She never said that. She insinuated that the vaccine, right? She insinuated that the vaccine, okay, was supposed to protect against the old variant, and then the Delta came, and then it's not defending against the Delta variant because it's new. So she's insinuating that a whole new shot will be required to protect against it. So she's mixing the information up, and she's fumbling, and she's misspeaking, and she ain't hammering home her points to people who follow the science. Remember, she says she studied in this. She's an expert. She got the science down. And a paper was published that ain't nobody seen. Malcolm, are you still here? Because if a paper was published regarding the information that she just kicked, I would have it. And I would show it and share it and talk about it.
When they see this new variant, what they're doing is the antibodies are taking the virus and helping it infect the cells.
Antibodies. Let's do this. Delta variant. She should have stated her expertise. She should have stated her expertise because she really confuses it. Reduced sensitivity of SARS-CoV-2 variant Delta to antibody neutralization. So the SARS-CoV-2 B1617 lineage was identified in October and blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, now here we isolate an infectious strand of the Delta variant from an individual with COVID-19 who had returned to France from India. We examine the sensitivity of the strand of monoclonal antibodies and to antibodies present in the serum from individuals who had recovered from COVID-19, hereafter referred to as conservated individuals, or who had received the COVID-19 vaccine, and then compared to this strand with other strands of COVID. The Delta variant was resistant to neutralization by some antibody and anti-RBD monoclonal antibodies, including bamlanivimab. Antibodies showed up in impairing binding spike protein. Okay, long story short, administration of 2 doses of the vaccine generated a neutralizing response in 95% of individuals, with titers 3 to 5-fold lower against Delta variant than against Alpha variant. Thus, the spread of the Delta variant is associated with an escape from antibodies that target non-RBD and RBD epitopes of the spike protein. So in the SARS-CoV-2 variant has been detected in many countries. It has become the predominant variant, representing 77% of the sequence virus circulating in the UK between June 2nd and the 9th. It has been classified as a variant of concern. That's what VOC means, and is believed to be 60% more transmissible. Little was known about the sensitivity of the Delta variant to humoral immune response. Recent reports have indicated that members of the B1617 lineage exhibited a reduced sensitivity to certain monoclonal and polyclonal antibodies compared to Alpha variant. So this ain't gonna help us out in answering her claim. She sends us on a goose chase. This is where we get to goose chasing. All right, so let's go to the cells. Actually, let's do a better job with this. Antibodies elicit COVID-19 vaccination effective against the Delta variant. This ends the conversation. So let's see if we can find an article. The findings published August 16th in the Journal of Immunity help explain why vaccinated people have largely escaped the worst of the Delta surge. In previous studies, co-censor author Ali Elibidi, I said his name all wrong, an associated professor of pathology, immunology, and medicine, molecular microbiology have shown that both natural infection and vaccination elicit lasting antibody production, but the length of the antibody response is only one aspect of protection. The breadth matters too. An ideal antibody response includes a diverse set of antibodies with flexibility to recognize many slightly different variants of the virus. Breadth confers resilience, even if few antibodies lose the ability to recognize a new variant. Okay, so that we know. Some people may have antibodies just as powerful as 2CO8 protecting them against SARS-CoV-2, and it's in many variants. Using publicly available database, the researchers discovered that about 20% of the people infected were vaccinated against SARS-CoV-2 create antibodies that recognize the same spot on the virus that is targeted to 2CO8. Moreover, very few virus variants carry mutations that allow them to escape antibodies targeting that spot. This antibody is not unique to a person we got it from that was in the study. Multiple antibodies targeting this area have been described in the literature. At least one is under development for COVID-19 therapy. So let's go back. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go back here. And let's see what article they get. COVID-19 vaccine generates immune structures critical for lasting immunity. So she's just wrong, man. She wrong because there's no supporting science that's going to take us down a path of showing us where the Delta variant is just absorbing those antibodies and doing it. And another reason why I'm sitting here smacking myself on the forehead right now is because I just went through breakthrough infections that were reported out of the 11,000 breakthrough infections reported. We just broke down how many of them death, hospitalization, or had asymptomatic response. We just did that. So that was a waste of time right there. So the Delta variant versus the population mass of whatever you're dealing with is low. So yeah, that's a goose chase. I wasted my time. So Brother Mathis, no, she's not accurate.
All right, that science was just published this week. We need to be looking at the science.
We need that science. We never got a source. She's generalizing.
And we need our policy to reflect the science, and we also need it to reflect our rights.
If you're fighting for a policy to reflect the science says that you need to mandate vaccinations in Michigan. Why? Because 0.003% of your population is not at risk. I mean, no, let me say that again. 0.003% of the deaths are not in the vaccinated group. I mean, are in a vaccinated group. That means they're highly unlikely to die versus 99% of unvaccinated who are likely to die. By mandating, you reduce the risk of death. You reduce the risk of hospitalization. By mandating vaccinations, you reduce hospitalizations and you reduce death based on the numbers, the data. So let's continue.
Okay. And so, as a PhD who knows the science, I'm in the category of the most vaccine hesitant group. Yes.
Look how proud she is. So for the brother NA Productions, which might be Jay Houdan, she just said proudly that she's in the vaccine hesitant group. As a PhD, she's in a vaccine hesitant group. What does the hell does vaccine hesitant means? That she does not want the vaccine. She didn't want it for DTaP. She didn't want it for the flu. She don't want it for COVID-19. She don't want. And we don't know her vaccination status. And when we go on her Facebook page, all we see is anti-vaccine rhetoric. She brings up zinc. We went through there. We scrolled down her page and she brought up some other bull crap. She just told us about racial autism. She's going to tell us again.
PhDs are the most vaccine hesitant, followed by people who have less than a.
Why do you think she's saying PhDs are vaccine hesitant? And then she said, followed by people who don't have a high school education. Why is she insinuating that? What's the deal behind that? Like, why I'm finna sit here and tell you that we're in the least? It ain't a whole lot of PhDs. And there's been some PhDs who've been absolutely wrong. There's been some PhDs in the Black community that have hindered the evolutionary growth scholastically in the Black community. And we've exposed a lot of the PhDs being autodidacts. So having a PhD and thinking and putting your chest out can get your chest caved in, which is what happened today, Dr. Parks.
A high school degree because they know what they don't know and they don't trust their government. And many people, the other group,
they know what they don't know and they don't trust their government. This is anti-establishment. No matter who is in the White House, no matter who is in charge of the parties, they don't trust the government. They don't trust the government, so they don't trust the science. Make that make sense to me. They don't trust their government, so they don't trust the science. The science has nothing to do with the government. The science is trying to handle a public health crisis. The science ain't just one field or body of study. The science is in your food. It's a whole lot.
Group that is very vaccine hesitant are African Americans. 70% of African Americans have not taken this vaccine. Why? Because they don't trust their government. Do they have reason not to trust their government? Well, between the years of 1930 and 1970, the CDC conducted the Tuskegee experiment, where they took untreated males with syphilis and they refused to treat them. Even after antibiotics became available, they still did not treat them, and they did not tell them that they had syphilis. They told those people that they were there to secure their health, and they did not secure their health. They abused them. You say, well, that was in the past, although I don't think 1970 was that long ago. Well, in 2012, whistleblower William Thompson came forward and said, we published a study that said MMR does not cause autism, but we lied. In fact, we shredded data that showed that when Black boys are vaccinated on time, they have increased rates of autism diagnosis. And we shredded it and we left it out of the paper. As an African American and a PhD, I want to ask each of you, are we going to exclude 70% of African American people from the workforce and from education? Right? My ancestors did not work.
Play that black card. Play that black card. Use Tuskegee. Play that black card. Yeah, 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 yeah. Blackity, 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 black. Blackity, black. This ain't even about science no more. This is an emotional rant. Let's start that over.
An American and a PhD does not cause autism, but we lied.
Oh, you lied. Don't say we. You lied. Because I think I just showed y'all on here. Where I go? Where my stuff go? Man, there's too much stuff on here. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Because I don't even know where it's at. It's somewhere. Anyway, y'all seen it when I brought it up talking about autism. I ain't got to go back to that. Let's hit this blackology and then it is what it is. Because I got to do a whole nother show.
In fact, we shredded data that showed that when Black boys are vaccinated on time, they have increased rates of autism diagnosis. And we shredded it and we left it out of the paper. As an African American and a PhD, I want to ask each of you, are we going to exclude 70% of African American people from the workforce and from education? Right? My ancestors did not work this hard. I come from a family that worked very hard, and I'm very aware that my privileges are dependent on the work of my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and I have great respect for these people that put me where I am. And yet you're telling me that my son will not be able to be educated if, based on the history of African Americans in this country, that he doesn't want to be vaccinated? All right, so I will leave you with that question. Who are we going to exclude from the workforce? Are we going to continue with discrimination and segregation in the United States?
As I stated, she made the vaccination campaign. She made this whole thing about being anti-government. Instead of protecting yourself against a virus, you're anti-government now. It has nothing to do with science. It has something to do with trust in the government. We don't trust the government. What should you be trusting? You should be trusting what? The science. But you told us to follow the science, and then you turned around and said the government. We shouldn't trust the government. So if we shouldn't trust the government, right? And I'm with you. I don't trust the government either. And we should trust the science. The science says that 99% of the people that are dying from COVID-19 are unvaccinated. So you mean to tell me being vaccinated reduces my risk of death? You mean to tell me that being vaccinated reduces my risk of hospitalization? Because 99% of the people in the hospital right now today are unvaccinated. You mean to tell me that being vaccinated prevents the spread of disease? What? This is what the science says, but this is not what you're standing on, Dr. Parks. The science says prevents the spread of disease. So you mean to tell me that I can be protected around 2 people who have COVID or 9 people that have COVID? I can give me some protection. I can fight it off, and I got my mask on too. I'm fully vaccinated with a mask, 2 masks, not 1, 2. Protecting the efficacy of my vaccine. You mean to tell me, Ms. Parks, that ain't the kind of protection I want to have? How dare you? So it goes back to privilege again. It goes back to who you're in bed with. Every last one of your talking points. Every last one of your talking points. Every last one of your talking points. My daughter lost a vaccine roulette. We don't even know how true this is. We don't know how true this is. We don't know how true this is. We don't know none of these babies. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Look, how you put this up and smiling? How you put this up and smiling? I'd be pissed the F off. I would be fully pissed off. And then here you go, sister. Because you are African American. My ancestors killed by DTaP. Really? 1985? Really? Really, really? And then you got your boy, Robert F. Kennedy. Robert F. Kennedy. And you ain't in the bed with? Bruh. This a whole anti-vaccine panel right here. And you finna tell me that she never said that she was anti-vaccine? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. She didn't say it. She didn't say it at all. You're absolutely correct. She just reposted this video, right? She just brings up zinc out of nowhere, right? She don't make no comments on it. She just put her religion all on the thing, right? Yep. Oh, what is this? Reawaken American Tour with Lisa Rhodey at Sandy St. DeVos Principal Hall, Grand Rapids. Who demand reawaken? So, look at this. Certain perks with vaccine choice. Join us. Huh? Okay, so hold on. Let's see. Let's see. What is this? What is this? What is this? Come on now. Play for us. Play for us. Oh, they ain't gonna play for us. There you go. Come on, play for us. Give it to me. Vaccine choice, ladies and gentlemen. Vaccine choice. So let's go see what vaccine choice is. New to vaccine choice, you are not alone. What is vaccine choice? Vaccine mandates set a precedent for unwanted medical and bio interventions. Mandates also interfere with the ability to receive individual medical and healthcare due to one-size-fits-all protocol. Full vaccination delayed, selective, opting out. All right. So moving forward, lift every voice and sing. Vaccine injury awareness walk. Vaccine injury awareness walk. All 73 doses from birth to graduation are optional. Michigan is one of 17 states that allows non-medical exemptions. Vaccine exemptions for daycare, vaccine exemptions for workplace, 4.5 billion in death and injuries and growing. Vaccine injuries. You mean to tell me that she ain't an anti-vaxxer, my guy? Where you at, NA Productions? You're telling me that she ain't a vac, and that she ain't anti-vaccine, my guy? Huh? You finna sit here and tell me this? You finna tell me this? Look at that. Injuries, research, take action. Safety studies, vaccine schedules, vaccine ingredients, package inserts. Providers, healthcare, fitness and nutrition, legal, exemptions. Huh? My guy? Come on now. You can't talk to me about research, my guy. I do this. What? She continues her rhetoric. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Don't let me stop. Don't let me stop. Oh, we're going to see more vaccine information right here. Boom. Boom. Jabber job. Crowds protest vaccine mandates at Michigan Capitol. Woohoo. Why am I going to do that? Why am I post that? If I'm against the vaccine, if I'm not against the vaccine, why am I posting that? For what? So let's just go here. Let's just see what she drops. If I can see it. New York protests vaccine mandates and passports. Forward. My wife employee just had to walk back their mandatory vax policy. Peter McCullough. We dealt with him already. I don't even know how you get this. But she ain't anti-vaccine, my guy. This is all about anti-vaccine rhetoric, my guy. Huh? Look at her. Oh my God. Sometimes might be coming together, y'all. So samples. Look. Oh, she wanted it to be a lab leak so bad. She wanted these people. Look. And then she uses bitch shot as a source. Oh my God. Oh, she don't know how to do research. She has a PhD and don't know how to research. Oh my God. We're just giving out PhDs to people. Come on now. You don't post anti-vaccine rhetoric on your Telegram. Come on, my guy. I'm insinuating it. Oh, look what she pushes. Oh, watch this. For those of you who are new to my channel, I'm again sharing my latest talk. So let's deal with the talk. Molecular biologist Dr. Parks reviews the history of government's use of vaccinations and the available data on the latest COVID-19 vaccine. So let's deal with her latest talk. Let's go, my guy.
Hi, my name is Dr. Christina Parks. I got my PhD from University of Michigan in 1999 in the field of cytokine signaling. That's relevant because some of you may have heard that one of the things that COVID causes is a cytokine storm. And so I had at Koinonia fire under the guise of public health. Those in power will cite science as their authority.
All right, so I ain't even finna watch all of this. I'm gonna skip through it because she done took us on a whole run. She cited herself as an expert in one area, then she came back and talked about cytokine storms and all of that. So now I'm confused. She's against vaccines, my guy. Look at that. Look at that. Look what she's promoting, my guy. I just put up the CDC data on that, my guy. Where you at? Where you at talking straw man and all of that? Don't even know how to use the fallacies correct. Where you at, my guy? Huh? Why you ain't talking? Why you ain't talking? Why you ain't talk? Why you quiet now? Oh, that's for that. Why you quiet now? Because we pulled up the CDC numbers and we talked about all the data that she's talking about right now, did we not? Did we not? We pulled up the CDC numbers and we dealt with it. All right, okay. So do we need to go back through it? Do we need to go back through the data? Do we need to go back through the data? Yes or no? Because I don't want to waste nobody's time. I don't want to go backwards to deal with what she's talking about in this video. As stated, What's her solution? Let's see if she gives us a solution. Let's see.
We funded that work that was done.
Boom, my guy. What did I say? I know what I'm talking about. Why understanding gain of function is important. I know what I'm talking about. Man, listen. I've been known to catch people in traps. Don't thank me. Don't say that I'm bad. Don't say none of that. Listen, I got the game from people who understood that research methodology was important. So in order to apply rigorous research methodology, you got to know how to look for certain things. They identify themselves to you, and you kill them with their source.
Here we have
you kill them with their source. Look at that. The whole thing is against the vaccine. The whole thing. Look at this. Preliminary myocarditis. We just dealt with all this information and she's still wrong. Look at the data in her face. The data is in her face. The data is in her face. And she's still misinterpreting the data. It is a rare case. So I'm not going to repeat myself because a lot of what she says in this, we dealt with. Look at that. Look. Woohoo! Where you at in a production? You said that she was not an anti-vaxxer. And then I come on here and we go see what all her information about. It's all anti-vaccine rhetoric. And it's the same talking points that Robert F. Kennedy and Dale Bigtree push. So don't talk to me about what this says or that says. I don't care who she is, what she does. The PhD means nothing to me, bro. Because a lot of PhDs are cocky, ignorant, and have forgot how to use rigorous methodology and scrutinization to do their work. Many of them. She has no scientific articles written about the vaccine. None. She is a microbiologist, yes, but she ain't dealing with virology, so she don't understand viruses, or immunology, she don't understand that. At worst, she could have some type of understudy in epidemiology, how to track the spread of viruses and all of that. And then she goes to my state and she big ups the governor, Bill Lee of Tennessee. The mask mandate. She puts this on her stuff. So all of this, as I stated, is anti-vaccine rhetoric. So when I see your boy on your page right here, I see you a part of all of that. I know what your agenda is from the gate. So don't sit here and tell me to go do this and go do that and all of that. She ain't dealing with the science. Look, anti-inflammatory effects of baking soda. So are you promoting people to take baking soda? Misrepresenting the data here. But you're a religious person, right? You're a God. You got all this religious stuff on here. But you sitting here lying to people on purpose and you got a PhD. You have no freaking morals. You got very bad character to sit here and do this. But her ancestors fought and died and all of this and this, that, and the third. Come on, my guy. Fuck out of here. I'm done looking at all this stupidness. So like I said earlier, man, we actually have, hold up. Malcolm, my bad, bro. I didn't know you was in there waiting.
Nah, man, I'm just sitting listening, man. Get it.
So I don't seem to understand. I don't understand. I don't think the dude in the chat, this dude, the NA production dude, I don't think that he understands. He says she's against mandating the vaccine. No, she's against the vaccine, period, bro. I don't think that he watched the video. Okay, so what did you get out of that? Maybe my comprehension off. Was she against mandating the vaccine or was she really against the vaccine? Because if we go do the homework on her stuff again, we're going to find more anti-vaccine rhetoric.
Yeah, you actually picked up on more than I did. So your breakdown was definitely more detailed, and you picked up on some of the vaccine talk, especially when y'all went to her page and called her with old boy. That told the story because if you look at the, cause she was twisting a lot of the concepts. You know what I'm saying? She got to talking about like she verbally stated what the COVID-19 vaccine is supposed to do, and then came up out of that with the next sentence talking about infection and transmission, and you're like, well, wait a minute, you just said that the vaccine that was designed to prevent against, limited symptoms, hospitalization, and death. So she just twisted a lot of stuff up. So you, you killed her.
Right. Right. And her having a PhD is irrelevant to me because they could be wrong too. Having a PhD don't mean that her PhD. This is what I said. Her expertise is not defined to us, so we don't know what her expertise is, but we know what she's speaking about, and we know who she's associated with. You don't take pictures of with the leader of the anti-vaccine movement, and you're not associated with it, and you're not at rallies, and you're not speaking out against it, and you're not having these little small lectures. She's making money off of this. This is a money grab for her. She just set her up to be a part of the biggest movement in America because she's anti-government. So absolutely. But yeah, man, I ain't gonna hold nobody else up, man. Sutek woke now, so I'm finna get with Sutek, and we're gonna double back with a video, and we're gonna break it down, and hopefully he got time whenever. I gotta see what his schedule like or whatever, see if we can align it. We supposed to come back and do a little long video, not too long, but we're gonna do a video breakdown of some pseudo information. So you want to be a part of the panel, Brother Mal, if you got time. Of course, when we go live, shoot the link. I appreciate you coming on, kind of walking through that. But yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah, by the way, I got
doubt.
the full from Unc.
Man, y'all.
I got my full from Unc. So I'm finna send this now. I'm finna send this now to only a food test the virus with only the protection from food. Unc is retarded. All right, so yeah, let me send this to let me get this added to my book. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. But yeah, man, let me get with Sutek. We're gonna double back, man. If you ain't busy, please join the panel. We're gonna have a discussion surrounded by this information. It ain't just gonna be me breaking down certain stuff. I mean, we've been dealing with this for far too long, and I just want to see if everybody can catch what we catch. And Sutek, mainly gonna be running the point guard on it. And I'm getting ready to edit really the biggest chapter of the book, I think. And once that's done, then it's on and popping. Let me reduce the fonts and let me see if that aligns with what I want done as far as how his font look. I'm real time dropping this on y'all. Well, y'all can't see what I'm doing, but I just added that into the book. All right. Font size is right. What's this font? Oh, this shit gonna end up getting changed. Yeah, so man, I see a couple of errors. I'm finna fix it. All right, so we got the information we need from I'm doing some quick edits to stuff, and then we're gonna get it edited. There we go. God, he put boy messed his own name up. All right, so we got the intro from we got the intro from we loaded. We loaded. It's a wrap. We got it. All right, as soon as we get this chapter done, and soon as we get the chapter done, and these other two things done, man, we gonna be cool. We're gonna be cool. Yep. And the book will be out. We are about to update the file format, which might result in layout changes. All right. And once that happens, it's a wrap. So let me get this information sent. Forward. Attach. What SARS-CoV-2 taught me. The document. Oh. All right, y'all. So yeah, man. That's what it's gonna be. Please keep on alive. Tired of this other bull. Oh yeah, I ain't got nothing to do with whatever else on YouTube. But hopefully we can get, like I said, we get this this big chapter done, and then the next two are bonus material, and they're not as long-winded as that very last one. And once the other two get done, and the forward get done, then we realign the book. I'm gonna make sure everything inside the book is spot on. Then we'll get to doing the other things that we need to do, and then we'll have it ready for release following volume 4. So when volume 4 is ready to drop, behind volume 4 we'll have what SARS-CoV-2 taught me, and then we'll be able to rock out. But as far as the whole book, I got the whole book unedited. Yeah, I got the whole book unedited. It's a total of, it ain't that long. It's like 222 page book. And as far as the sources is probably going to be about, let me see. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 pages. So 9, and then I got some bonus source, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 41 pages of sources. So yeah, 41 pages. All right. So let me get with Sutek. I'll catch y'all later, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm gonna say Shimon Hotel. Look for volume 4 is on the way. We cooking up, and it's going down like this.